Welcome from the Okie Blanchard Sports Complex, Larry Peroetti, along with Chris Polton, Nick Peroetti, as we are here bringing you the ball game 4 different ways. 1480 KRAE, 101.1 FM, 1480KRAE.com. Plus, you get to visualize it as well. And as we are streaming it on Periscope via Twitter, and then also make it 5 ways, you also can go to YouTube and punch up on the search engine 1480 KRAE. Tonight's game being brought to you by Terrell Honda, Baskin Robbins, Cheyenne State Bank, Merritt Plumbing and Heating, Chick-fil-A, at the corner of Windmill and Delrange, Cheyenne Auto Repair and Service, the Go Window Company, Best Western Plus, Frontier Inn, Little Philly, Jolly Rogers, RV Sales and Service, Platte Valley Bank, Taco John's, Marv's Plumbing and Heating, First Year Bank, and Big Apple Bagels. I bring in my broadcast partner for tonight, that being Chris Polton, who rejoins us, not with us last week at Thunder Basin. Probably a good thing not to be at Thunder Basin last week because it was not pretty.
Well, and I guess it saved me, it's what, 3.5 hours, 4 hours to Gillette. So it saved me that trip. I was in Colorado doing volleyball. So, for East, I think that was kind of their measuring stick on where they are right now in the state. And I'm sure if you're Coach Chad Goff, you weren't excited about the effort that was put forth. But for them, they have a very good opportunity to right the ship against a struggling South team.
And again, I think, too, and Nick was doing the game with me last week, who's also with us up here in the booth, but you look back at blown opportunities. You also look at the fact that missed assignments, and you can't make mistakes against a quarterback such as Mason Hamilton. And again, they just riddled the secondary, so they found a weakness, and they went after it all night long.
Yeah, and we saw Thunder Basin week 0 against Central, and we didn't know, was Central just that bad or was Thunder Basin that good? I think we're starting to see that Thunder Basin's that good, and where they're good is in the trenches. Nobody runs off against them. They keep their quarterback clean for the most part, and when you're able to do that, you're going to be successful against a lot of teams. And Thunder Basin, especially, can't say enough about Mason Hamilton. As you said, if you give him any type of window, he's got a strong enough arm where he'll burn you.
Tonight's game also being brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne, sponsoring our Pepsi scoreboard. Medicap Pharmacy, King of Cheyenne, Lennox Auto Body, the Bread Basket Bakery, First Education Federal Credit Union, Fat Boys Tire and Auto, B&B Appliance and TV, Capital Lumber Company, Halliday Motors, and MHP, McGee Hernan Pies. Now for the South High Fighting Bison, it's been a struggle just with pure numbers this year of kids that have gone out for the program. So you're going to see not just underclassmen, you're going to see freshmen, sophomores that are going to make their mark here with the South High Fighting Bison. It has been tough sledding for the first 3 weeks for this program, but I guess you would say a light at the end of the tunnel last week against Casper Kelly Walsh.
Yeah, I mean, they were able to be a little bit more competitive. I was talking to one of their assistant coaches down on the field, and he just said they're getting a little bit more confident, just that they can play with teams. Granted, Casper Kelly Walsh did beat them pretty handedly, but for them, they were finally able to get on the scoreboard. They had a passing touchdown for Cade Burns, their starting quarterback, only 12 attempts on the year, but so for them to be able to throw the ball a little bit with some success, that's going to help them, because as it is right now, you can pretty much stack 9 people in the box. You know exactly what South's going to do, so they'll need to find the confidence enough tonight to have some sort of balance to keep East's defense off kilter.
Yeah, one of the things too that Chinese Thunderbirds can do, they can stop the fly sweeps. Again, things that South will try to throw at you. They'll try to throw those quick little counters with the Y backs. But again, too, if you're going to try to run up the middle, not going to happen too often, and against the Chinese Thunderbird team that's very active, especially with their backers.
Well, and with Soto, the fullback for South being their #1 choice in the backfield, has the most attempts, most yards, it's going to be a struggle, and they're going to have to find a way to really put 4 quarters together and have their linemen, which are depleted, as we'll get into as we go into the game, they're going to have to find a way to get a push early, because as the game goes on, it's going to become tougher and tougher, because East can get you with numbers, especially in the trenches.
And tonight we're looking forward to seeing Cade Burns. He's a 6'5" youngster, 163 pounds. He's a sophomore. He'll be directing the offensive attack tonight for the South High Fighting Bison, who are in their travel white uniforms with the black pants, gold trim. They have the black numerals with the gold outline, black helmets. Cheyenne East tonight sporting the powder blue home uniforms, black numerals and white outline. And last week we were up at Thunder Basin with the grays and the dark numerals. At night it got a little rough, but somehow, some way we pulled it off. Cheyenne East again in the powder blue home uniforms. They have the black pants with the white swoosh. Also, they're in the white helmets for tonight. We're going to take a timeout. We come back, a power-packed pregame show. We have our report from the University of Wyoming Cowboys, that being Craig Bowl. We'll hear from Mark Pueb, South High Athletic Director. We'll hear from Coach Dan Gallus of South High. We'll hear from Chad Goff. We also have the Mountain West Conference schedule and the high school schedule for this evening. So again, a lot of elements coming up here as our pregame show continues right here on 1480 KRAE.
It's something that kind of fell into our lap when it fell out of rotation from Jackson. It came to us, and the 3 schools, I think we've done a great job as far as teaming together to kind of share the responsibility and ownership on this to make sure it turns out to be a good event for not only for the city golfers but for the state. One person that sticks out in my mind, Paige Gully. She's just a sophomore. She did good last year. She's doing better this year. She's one of those kids that just always has a smile on her face, and you're just happy to see kids like that do something and succeed in doing it. So, but we're excited. I'm most excited that this is the first time. This is my 4th year here in Cheyenne, and this is promising. Hopefully, I don't jinx it. It's promising to be the best weather we've had for a state golf tournament in a long time.
Let's talk about the other fall programs that have been going on as well, too. And again, some positive results coming through the South program.
Yeah, we went in our first tournament. We went up to Gillette, and we're in a tournament up there for volleyball. And I got a text from my coach that they had beaten East 2-1 up there, and that's a first-time one. That's something that even though it was just a text print, you can kind of feel just how excited she was and how excited the team was. So that was a big one right there. We got Central's coming over here tonight for volleyball, and then we go to East tomorrow for volleyball and football. Those are pretty big for us. Next week we go and we send a returning state champion, a defending state champion, Brandon Lott, goes up to tennis up in Gillette to go ahead and defend his state #1 tennis title.
Here's the tough part of being the athletic director at any of our high schools here. We're getting into that portion of school that, yes, we are now officially into the 3rd week of school, but you also have to remind your coaches of student athletes that, hey, either they're deficient in some parts of their classes or whatever the case may be, but you always have to wear that bad guy hat to remind people, hey, we gotta make sure our student athletes are making the grades.
Yeah, and like I said, the more time I spend here, the more comfortable I am with the kids. And I think it's different wearing the hat of the athletic director as opposed to head coach, in that you're more of a figment, not necessarily of their imagination, but you're more of a apparition. You're not the important coach, but they know that you're somebody of somewhat importance somewhere and somehow. But I try to have a little bit more interaction with the kids, and I actually just I kind of barked at a kid yesterday that was kind of tardy to class, and apparently I barked loud enough where a teacher came out of the classroom into the hallway where I was, wondering what was going on. And and these kids know that I do these things out of love. I want them to succeed, and they cannot succeed if they're not in class. They cannot succeed if they're getting the grades. I think all three schools hold the kids very accountable to being student athletes, student first.
Mark, as we look at the football season, and again, we'll be talking with Coach Gallus as well, but you look at the South High football program, and unfortunately, and you know this being from your coaching days, you only got the kids there for at least 4 years, freshmen through seniors. And, of course, when your senior class graduates, you hope the underclassmen can step up and be ready to roll for the next football season. But it's been a little bit of a struggle for Coach Gallus out of the box this year as you graduated a lot of seniors last year. Let's talk about the numbers. I know a couple games have been wiped out due to the fact that there are lack of numbers. Can you explain why we're having a little problem with the football program?
Well, I don't know. And that's one of my goals. In 20 minutes I go and I talk to someone about my yearly goals and whatnot. And some of those goals are to pick those numbers up in the transference from the junior high right across the street in Johnson, coming across the street here. You see, football programs and whatnot that have 50-plus kids in them, their 8th grade year, and then they come on over here, and we have less than half of that coming on out. And we really got to go make the phone calls and bang on the doors to get those kids in. So those are some of the things I'm trying to do as the AD in partnership with the coaches and with our neighbors across the street, is try to bridge that gap and make sure that the kids over there feel comfortable coming on over here and with the people that are here. Us coming on out over there and being more of a focal point and being more visual down there so that we're not strangers when they go from 8th grade to 9th grade, that they already know us, they already know our program, that they're just comfortable coming on over. So I think that's one of the biggest things is to help the numbers is to build those relationships with the lower levels so that you're kind of a focal point. They know that that's okay to come on over and that they're going to be in good hands.
Cheyenne South Athletic Director Mark Puev join us on our pregame show. We'll have more after these words right here on 1480 KRAE.
First of all, in reference to the Missouri game, I would say they were better than advertised. I did know, speaking with Coach Odom during the course of the summer, I could tell that their football program was acutely aware of where we were at, and so their preparation, any thoughts of us going in and being overlooked were not accurate at all. I knew that wasn't going to be the case, and I think they're going to win a lot of football games. How they fare in the SEC, I don't know, but I think they're excellent, and I think the quarterback's better than advertised. My sense is he's going to be in the conversation for the Heisman Trophy, and we played a Heisman Trophy winner a couple of years ago, and I don't think this guy's too far off. It was going to be a game that we were going to need to play. I don't want to say air-free, but pretty doggone air-free. I do think we cleaned up the penalties, so I was pleased about that. We didn't have a lot of self-inflicted wounds, but, they're a good football team, and they're ready to play. And I thought at times, defensively at the beginning part of the game, we were really competitive. And then as the game went along, I thought we lost our edge defensively, and there's a lot of reasons for that. And it kind of flipped offensively in the in the first half. I thought we were struggling offensively, and then we got some things going in the second half. And so as a result, what we've got to be able to do is put those two back to back, and that'll be important this week. As far as injuries, I do think Josh Harshman will be out for a significant amount of time. We'll get some more information today concerning his MRI, but a pretty significant knee injury. We're certainly hoping for the best for Josh and that we can have him back as we go. Moving forward, Wofford's 2-0 right now. Wofford's 2-0. They were a 10-win football team that went deep in the playoffs last year. Coach Conklin's a new head coach, but he's got a real familiarity with Wofford. He had coached there before, and also he hails from Gillette. He was at Pittsburgh, and our defensive staff did a professional visit there. So he's a prince of a guy and a heck of a coach. And as he starts out, he's 2-0 as a head football coach. Offensively, they have not changed a whole lot through the years. They've had the same offensive coordinator for maybe 20, 30 years. I mean, been there a long time, and we have got a great deal of experience coaching against that scheme. And so they'll play two quarterbacks. They're very creative what they do with their option scheme. They have answers to what you throw up against them. Defensively, they operate out of a three-down look. Big, strong guys up front, some 300-pounders. Their secondary is always in position, which gives you an indication that they're well coached. And so anytime you play a team that's undefeated, we have a big opportunity and a big challenge for us. It's going to be important that we lick our wounds a little bit. There's no doubt this last game was a tough physical game on us, but I've always believed this competition brings out the best in you. If it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. And we're going to move forward as a football team. So that's kind of where we're at. Any questions that anybody might have?
You mentioned, the defense may be losing its edge a little bit as the game last week went on. Noah certainly got wore down. What needs to happen to maybe get some of that edge back? And obviously, it's a different scheme you're going against.
Sure.
That maybe be a spark or a help, I guess.
Well, it's a challenge because it's a different scheme. A couple things that I think we did not do as well as what we could have. Missouri tempoed us a couple times, and they had not shown that. There was a lot of unknowns we didn't know going into the game. They certainly changed and did some things. They looked deep into, what Oregon had done to us. They had a complex game plan that they had not shown, and because they didn't have to show it. So I think that that hurt us a little bit. Now we were horrendous on third down, and then what happened, Robert, was the residual of staying on the field. And I saw Logan Wilson played 46 plays in the first half. That's a whole game in the first half, and so we've got to be better at getting off the field. We've got to be better at staying on the field. And so I think that had an impact. You always get concerned about, a well-fortified team like Missouri is in the SEC, their depth, and I think that began to show. That's just a fact. And so we've got to build more depth. We talked about playing some younger players a little bit earlier so we can stay fresher and to be able to get off the field. And then, what began to occur, Robert, was, our tackling, our angles, bursts of the ball, where at the beginning part of the game we were sharp and crisp. And we were really challenged there, I thought, defensively. We had the turnover right away, which we answered. I think there was another time the ball was about midfield. We answered. It was 3-0. And then I think the drive that really hurt was a 97-yard drive. And some of those things were their quarterback making some plays, some of the things we've got to improve. And so, as coaches, we got a mature staff. But we need to make sure our defensive guys are well positioned this week and they're playing fast.
Welcome back to our pregame show on 1480 KRAE. Time now for the Mountain West Conference schedule with all MoWest teams in non-conference action. The Hawaii Rainbows will take on the Army Scarlet Knights. That'll be at Mitchie Stadium in West Point. It will be the Boise State Broncos. They will head to Boone Pickens Stadium in Stillwater, Oklahoma to take on the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Speaking of the Cowboys, the Wyoming Cowboys at home at War Memorial Stadium to host Wofford. It will be Colorado State on the road. They will take on the Florida Gators in Gainesville. San Jose State will head to Oregon in Eugene to face the Ducks. The Oregon State Beavers will head to Mackey Stadium in Reno to face the Nevada Wolfpack. New Mexico and New Mexico State will hook up in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Prairie View will face the UNLV Rebels at Sam Boyd Stadium. Arizona State will take on the San Diego State Aztecs. That will be in San Diego, California. And UCLA, the UCLA Bruins in the Rose Bowl, will host the Fresno State Bulldogs. More of our pregame show coming up after these words right here on 1480 KRAE. Right now, we're joined by South High head coach Dan Gallus. And, Coach, good to have you back on our program as we have the South High Fighting Bison taking on the East High Thunderbirds this weekend. A little bit of a tough go for your youngsters out of the box. And, again, competition that, we look at are probably top 5 here in Class 4A that you had to face in the first 3 weeks.
Yeah, there's no question that the teams that we're playing are quality football teams and quality football programs, and we actually look forward to that because it helps us get better, and it helps us to sharpen our tools as athletes and players.
Coach, it's always tough, and you've been in the coaching business for a long time, and you always got senior classes graduating, and you got a lot of skilled positions that you have to fill, and again, the underclassmen, you're hoping that will step up there and take over when you get into the next season. But again, with your youngsters that you have on your ball club right now, getting into your system of offense and defense, tell us a little bit how the team is becoming that work in progress for you.
Well, I'm always encouraged by how they come out with the desire to improve. Every day at practice, our kids are working hard to improve and get better. They are very coachable, and they want to do how we play the way we'd like them to, and they're trying very hard. And that type of thing you can do a lot of things with. You can come a long ways if you got kids that really want to improve.
With coaches, you're always judged by W's and L's, and we in the media always make big things out of that. But also, I look back at last week's loss at Casper Kelly Walsh, and I would think you as a coach and with your coaching staff, you got to look at the positives there. A, you got into the end zone, and B, you hung tough with a very good Kelly Walsh ball club.
Yeah, Kelly is a very good physical football team. They play hard, and they want to run it right at you, and then do their best to break tackles, and they throw the ball okay as well. On special teams, they're disciplined, but we felt like we did a nice job, especially in the beginning of the game, where we were able to move the football, hang on to it, not give it back to them, and as you said, get into the end zone. Which is critical. What we want to do with our offense is use the clock. We want to shorten the game by keeping the ball and keeping the clock moving. And we did a nice job with that a couple times last week. We just have to improve on that and do a better job of that. I think our gang tackling last week got better, and we've just got to get more people to the football when we're on defense, and make sure we're tackling with more than just one person.
You have another good team that you're going to be taking on here in Cheyenne, and that's the good news. You don't have to travel too far, just across town to the Oakey Blanchard Sports Complex to face the East Thunderbirds. They're a young team. They're still trying to find their identity as well. But, again, on both sides of the football, going to be another tough test for your young team.
Oh, there's no question about it. Every week is a test, and every week is a challenge, and we look forward to that. And we've had a pretty good week of practice, and we like what we've done, and we're looking forward to the challenge on Friday night.
South High head coach Dan Gallus joining us on our pregame show. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back with more right after this on 1480 KRAE. And now we get a chance to talk with Cheyenne East head coach Chad Goff as the Thunderbirds prepare for the South High Fighting Bison this evening at Oakey Blanchard Sports Complex. Coach, last week we had a nice chat with you after the ball game and some things that you saw on the field in the loss to the Thunder Basin Bulls. So you went back to work this week. Tell me some of the things that you tried to work on to improve this ball club.
A lot of the little things, a lot of little things we didn't do right in that game the other night, just the fundamentals, catching the ball, blocking with the right shoulder. Worked a lot on special teams. They need to chime in a little bit more in those games and make some bigger plays. And so we just kind of really focused on a lot of the little things this week.
One of the things, too, that we discussed about your team, and we forget, that you graduated a lot of seniors last year. Now, again, that's no excuse, but you do have a lot of underclassmen playing this season for you.
Yeah, a lot of kids they played a ton of JV and sophomore games last year, and they're getting used to the speed of the varsity game. And that speed the other night was pretty fast when you're going against a no-huddle squad. And, they did some good things against it at times, and they still struggled at times. And so, yeah, the youth is getting better and getting more used to it.
As you prepare for the South High Fighting Bison, and they have run into some struggles here, and again, to their credit, they've taken on the likes of Natrona, Thunder Basin, and most recently Casper Kelly Walsh, where they actually got the ball in the end zone a couple of times. These are the teams that on paper you should win, but you never turn your back on them.
Yeah, tell that to the game in 2016. It was a bad day for us, but one of the best days for our program as far as understanding stats don't really mean anything. What people say doesn't mean anything. Records don't really mean anything. There's a reason you play the game. It's to find out the result. And so we've really pushed that into their heads this week, and they've had a good week of practice.
6-1 in their short existence. Cheyenne East is against the South High Fighting Bison, two different coaches. Tell us a little bit about what you expect Coach Gallus to show you offensively this weekend.
Time of possession, trying to get us to jump off sides. They're just going to hand that dive off and have that quarterback keep it and maybe pitch it once in a while, but they're going to try to lull you to sleep and then try to throw one over the top on you. And you just got to play smart, disciplined defense against them.
Also, too, you flip it over on the other side of the football as well. And Coach Gallus is going through a little bit of the growing pains as Cheyenne does. He graduated a lot of seniors last year. He's also young on both sides of the football.
Yeah. That's just, I guess, the process of high school football, is getting those young kids in there and getting them reps. And then you can see when you watch their film, they get better on both sides of the ball each week. And so you can't go in there expecting it's going to be a walkthrough type game like it's been in the past where kids have kind of went in with that attitude. And so you just hope you show up and you play at your level and you see what happens from there.
And final thought, last week with the loss at Thunder Basin, and again, it's only one loss during the football season, does that give your team a wake-up call? Or, and again, like I said, Coach, you've been at this for a long time. I know you don't go into panic mode, but what is the expression to the team this week? We got that one loss. We can't lose anymore. I mean, what was the message?
We just talked a lot about attitude and effort and playing within the system and not trying to do too much, but do what you're asked to do. Not being babies when things happen. You just got to bounce. You got to flip that adversity and you got to keep playing. And I thought for the most part in the Thunder Basin, we did keep playing. There was just so many little things that added up to such a big deficit for us.
Chinese head coach Chad Goff on our pregame show. We'll take a timeout. We'll be back with more after these words right here on 1480 KRAE, including our week. Welcome back to our pregame show. As we are just minutes away from the opening kickoff, let's check out the high school football schedule on tap for tonight. The Cheyenne Central Indians and Coach Mike Apodaca in search of their first victory. They will be at Campbell County to take on the Camels this evening in Gillette. Again, Cheyenne Central 0-3 to start the season, looking for victory number 1 against the Camels. It will be the Kelly Walsh Trojans. They'll be on the road. They'll be in Rock Springs to face the Tigers. The Laramie Plainsmen will also be on the road. They'll take on the Natrona Mustangs, the number 1 rated Natrona Mustangs at Cheney Alumni Field. And the Sheridan Broncs look to bounce back after last week's loss to the Natrona County Mustangs. They'll be at home at Homer Scott Field. They will entertain the Thunder Basin Bulls. We'll be back with the starting lineups after these words right here on 1480 KRAE.
To the Okie Blanchard Sports Complex. Chris Polton, Nick Proetti, yours truly, Larry Proetti. We are here ready to bring you Cheyenne East, Cheyenne South. We're about 4 minutes away from the opening kickoff. Here's the real deal. South won the toss. They deferred to the second half, so Cheyenne East will have the football. They will defend the north end zone, so they'll be going north-south when they get the opening kickoff. So with that being said, Chris, let's check in on the defensive side for Cheyenne South this evening.
Here's how Coach Gallus has his defensive lineup. Hunter Scott on the right defensive end, 6'2", 231 junior. On the defensive tackle on the right side, Griffin Boleski. For Boleski, 5'9", 212 junior. Brady Dunn is the left defensive end. For Brady Dunn, he is 6'2", 227 senior. The other defensive tackle is going to be Jace Packard. Packard coming in at 5'10", 243, also a senior. The will linebacker, Michael Mascarinas. For Mascarinas, he's 5'8", 172, just a sophomore. Buck linebacker, Austin White. White is 6', 207. The will linebacker, Trey Trimble, 5'10", 208. The cornerbacks, Kerry White and Brandon Hughes. Free safety, Tyler Wilkin.
And we'll be back. We will have the offensive starters for Cheyenne East headed your way as we will break quickly for our national anthem. The Cheyenne East Thunderbird Marching Band will be performing the national anthem. Hopefully we'll get a chance to catch some of that when we come back after this 2-minute timeout. You're listening to high school football right here on 1480 KRAE. The Okie Blanchard Sports Complex, East High Thunderbirds expected to be on offense as they will receive the opening kickoff. The Hosses up front will be Zach Zastapool. He's a 5'8", 219-pound senior in the middle. The left guard will be Big Jacob Fernandez, 6'4", 297, a senior. The left tackle, 6-footer, 195-pound senior Marshall Brown. The right guard will be Zach Higgins. He's 6', 232, the junior. And Brandon Deasing on the right side. He's a 5'11", 205-pound senior. One of the X-backs, as they call them, or wide receivers, it will be Cole Michaeli. He's 6'2", 172, and a junior. He'll be joined by Dakota Merritt, 6-footer, 147-pound senior. Also tonight in the backfield, it will be, and it looks like it's going to be Brandon Eifert who will get the call for Jaden Eifert, 5'3", 130-pounder. He is a senior. He will get it to start in place of Riley Cooper, who will see some action. Chance Allmiller is a 6'2", 161-pound junior. He'll be on the outside. And the quarterback is 6'1", 190-pound sophomore, Graydon Buell. So again, Buell with Eifert in the backfield. Again, we may see Cooper start, as we talked with Coach Goff earlier, Coach Goff said, hey, you know, we got Cooper back and we want to get as many touches as we can, but we're not sure yet if we're going to start him or not. So interesting alignment for Cheyenne East. For the South High Fighting Bison, it's just a pure case of numbers, Chris, that, again, a lot of not underclassmen, but we're talking sophomore freshmen that are going to be seeing some action here. And boy, you know, you're gonna get it under the baptism of fire in this part of the world.
Well, especially in that cornerback, Brandon Hayes didn't get a chance, as I was trying to cut it short to not talk through the national anthem, but Hughes, on that left corner, it's just a freshman. He's starting on defense, and we've seen how good Graydon Buell can be, both not only with his legs but with his arm, and we'll see here on this first possession how Coach Goff goes after the youth. Does he go right after them and challenge them early, or does he try to stick to a certain game plan?
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. Will it be sustained drives, or is it going to be that one big, you know, blast and it's going to be a touchdown? You know, South has been doing both, giving up the big home runs in addition to also, you know, getting just worked over on sustained drives. And I don't think you want to keep that defense out because, again, a lot of these kids are going both ways.
Yeah, and especially in the trenches where you spend a lot of your energy for South High. And this is a big first session. You know, East has got an offense that when they can get rolling can be very potent. We saw it in the fourth quarter against Casper Kelly Walsh. They obviously scored, you know, 50 points in their first matchup against Campbell County. And it's a team that can score in bunches, and they have a lot of different weapons. You can see Miller, you can see Merritt, you can see Eifert, Ox Schroeder. There's no one person you can really key on.
Robert Lukow will drop back deep for Cheyenne East, as we mentioned, in the powder blue jerseys for tonight. He'll be joined by Ox Schroeder. Schroeder, 5'11", 156-pound junior. Lukow, 5'7", 145, and a senior. And let's see if the freshman will be doing the kickoff, that being Adrian Reynolds. So we're getting things lined up. It doesn't look like it's going to be Reynolds. Actually, it's going to be, looks like Pedro Silva, 5'9", 122-pound senior. So he will come up to the football. Wind right now blowing out of a southeast direction at about 10 to 15 miles an hour. Silva will put a foot into it, and we're underway. It's low, and Lukow will pick it up at the 8. He'll fake the handoff to Schroeder. 15, 20, 25, 30. Still on his feet to the 35, to the 40. Spun around, and he'll be brought down at the east 46-yard line. Nice return by Lukow as he busted through the wedge.
Yeah, I got through the wedge, but I think for South, they kind of froze for a minute on that fake reverse between Lukow and Schroeder. And another thing, I'm not a big fan of that line drive kick. You're going to give them a lot of time to really see the lane, find the lane, and pick it, and that's exactly what Lukow did right there.
But you're hoping on the turf there, if you're South, you're hoping that it takes a turf bounce and bounces over your head or scoots underneath it. First down at 10, and back in the backfield is Riley Cooper, the 5'10", 180-pound senior. He will join Buell as Buell will operate out of the gun. Good to see Riley Cooper back after missing last week's action and only playing a half the last time we saw him. He'll have the football, he'll go off tackle, and he'll be bounced down at the 48-yard line, a pickup of 2 on the play. It'll be second down and 8.
Yeah, you probably want to get him going earlier rather than wait for the game to really potentially get out of hand. I'm sure most people would, looking at these two teams and how they've been trending, this is a East High team that's probably very favored to win this game.
And again, Eifert did a great job in his absence over the last couple of weeks. Second down for the T-Birds, spot the ball on their own 48-yard line. Just underway here in quarter number 1. Buell flares one out to Lukow, midfield into South territory, down to the 47-yard line. And it'll be third down and short. We'll say it looks like about 3 as it's spotted at the South 47. They need to get to the South 44-yard line. So third down and 3. Pepsi scoreboard right now at the 10:45 mark. Miller will split out on top. Merritt along with Michael I to the near side. Cooper in the backfield. Handoff will go to Cooper. Cooper kind of feels his way through as he goes over his Astapool. He'll have the first down to the 43-yard line of the Bison. So a fresh set of downs for Cheyenne East.
Good vision there. Coach Goff, we had a chance to talk with him at the post game of the Kelly Walsh. He said one of the things he likes about Cooper is just his vision. And right there, you really saw the patience and for him to find the hole to get that first down.
Michaeli to the near side, Miller on top. Again, out of the gun is Buell. Cooper to his left. Cooper with the football, covers up, drives forward, down to the 41-yard line of the Bison. Pickup of 2 on the play. It's 2nd down and 8. So for the Cheyenne East Thunderbirds already in Bison territory early in the contest. Merritt shuffling in the play.
Good tackle there by White, making sure he didn't have anywhere to go. First guy to make the contact, the last guy to make the contact. Something you'd like to see out of your linebackers for South High.
Landon Eldridge is now flanked to the near side. I checked that to the far side. In motion is Merritt. And on the fly sweep, Merritt is driven out and maybe lost a yard.
Great job holding the edge by the freshman, Braden Hughes. He's the one that made that play, and Merritt, one of the faster guys on this team, he's able to run them down. And it's a 3rd and long here for East, and we haven't seen Buell chuck it yet. This could be the first time we see him, at least with the toss down the field, as he does have a completion, of course, on that kind of flare pass.
Loss of 1 for Merritt, 3rd down and 9. Ball right now at the 42-yard line. Hash mark to the far side. Buell talking with Cooper in the backfield. Back to pass, has plenty of time. Steps, throws, got him, man. That's Miller. Miller makes the grab and curls up at the 27-yard line. It'll be 1st down and 10, down to the Bison 27. Nice pass, nice connection there by Buell. And again, when you have time to throw, you usually have a chance to look downfield and see everybody.
Yeah, and great job there by Miller. He got some hands in the face in the zone, but he found that soft spot, sat there, and he made the big catch on the 3rd down.
1st down and 10 for the T-Birds, spotted at the 27-yard line of the Bison. Eldridge will come over to the right side, and he'll put a block down for Cooper. Cooper pushes his way over the 25-yard line down to the, well, they'll just say his knees touch at the 25. So a pickup of 2, 2nd down and 8. T-Birds marching as they took the opening kickoff, and this is the thing that I was telling you. You look at the drive time right now, as they took the opening kickoff, they've already had the football coming up on 3.5 minutes.
Well, and they're 2 for 2 on 3rd down as well, as both first downs have come with, it's all 3rd and long and a 3rd and mid-range for East.
Buell rolls to his left. He'll take it himself. 20, spun around, and dropped down at the 17-yard line. They will mark him close to the 1st down. It is a 1st down. So nice run that time by Graydon Buell at the 17, inside the 17, so it'll be 1st down and 10.
Well, good job by Buell. Looked like a kind of a RPO type play, run pass option, and he saw the lane and didn't think twice, but tucked it and went and made sure he took care of the football first and foremost.
Yeah, that was actually a no-brainer on his behalf. He looked right away and said, I'm going to run it. He saw a wide open lane and got the 1st down for the T-Birds. Again, hash mark on the far side. Merritt and Michaeli out on top, and they will give it off to, it looks like that would be Eifert. As Jaden with his first run of the night. He'll grab a short gainer of 1 to the 16. 2nd down and 9. Again, the drive now approaching 4.5 minutes.
Yeah, good first drive here for the Thunderbirds, something they really couldn't do a lot of last weekend in Gillette against Thunder Basin. Looks like Coach Goff getting back to basics here this weekend.
Operating again out of the gun, Buell will have Miller to the near side. 2nd down, Buell back to pass. Plenty of time. Takes it himself. Pump fakes and will be dropped, I think, at the 16-yard line. He might have gotten back to the line of scrimmage.
Great job there by Tremblay. Trimble. Great pursuit, just kind of spine Buell. They know Buell's not afraid to tuck it and run, but they also know, too, if they suck up too early, Buell's really good at just tossing it right over the linebacker. But Trimble did a good job really not giving him that opportunity and wrapping him up right at the line.
Yeah, Trey Trimble, who's been here, done it. He didn't buy on the pump fake. So it will be 3rd down and long for the T-Birds, spotted at their own 16-yard line. Buell has Cooper about a yard behind him to the right. Back to pass goes Buell. He steps, he throws for Miller and overshoots him, incomplete. It'll be 4th down for the T-Birds. That'll stop the clock with 6:25 to go here in the quarter. So a drive that has taken 5 minutes and 35 seconds may have stalled, and now we'll be looking at a Dakota Merritt foot.
Well, and Dakota Merritt was wide open on the sideline. He went to Miller, who was in the seam. Merritt had nobody around about 5 yards around him. For South, I would say with where East started, just to give up 3 here is a win. A bend and don't break possession there for South on defense.
Buell will hold, Merritt will kick. Placement is down, kick is up, and it is no good.
Make that a big time win now, Larry.
No good.
South
off to the left. Off to the right. So 33-yard field goal attempt is no good by Merritt. So it will be South High football, and a big defensive stop and a missed field goal by Merritt will turn the ball over to the South High Fighting Bison with 6:20 to go in the period. So 5 minutes and 40 seconds wasted by East.
Yeah, and for South, if you're Coach Gauss, you got to love that first possession. You definitely gave up some yardage, but you took a stand right at the really the red zone area, and then you made them make a good kick, and that, it was a 37-yard kick and not a gimme, as of course we see Merritt missing it.
Alex Soto, the lone back in the backfield. Again, they'll operate out of the wing. They'll flip it back. That looks like Dominguez. Dominguez spun around and dropped for a loss.
That's going to be the toughest part on offense, is you can't really get outside with East speed, especially at the linebacking position. So they're going to have to find a way to punch at the gut up the middle first. Dominguez did a good job, though, just getting it back to the line of scrimmage or close to the line of scrimmage.
He actually lost a yard. Dominguez, 5'9", 160-pound senior. He's joined with Trimble, who, check that, Soto will be in the fullback position. They run like the Air Force wing. This time it is to Soto. He'll plunge forward, maybe a couple of yards to the 21. If anything, they give him the 22. Let's see officially where the spot is. They'll say the 21, so it'll be 3rd down and long, 3rd and 9. Again, Cade Burns is the quarterback, 6'5", and a sophomore. So he has a chance to survey the entire field as he lines up under center. Again, this is the old Air Force offense here with the wing.
Just like the Air Force offense, you don't want to get behind the chains too much because you don't pass often. Just 12 attempts on the season for Burns.
Back to pass goes Burns. He steps, he throws, and it's almost picked off. Unfortunately, colliding with Michaeli. I do believe it might have been Eldridge that collided with Michaeli. Michaeli was standing there with the ball in his hands, and then Eldridge ran into him, and the ball squirts out. So an incomplete pass. 4th down, stopping the clock with 5:02, 3 and out that quick for the offense, and Ox Schroeder will drop back deep along with Lukow as they will stand around their own 40-yard line. Should get great field position. Dropping back deep to punt it will be Trey Trimble, the 5'10", 208-pound senior. He'll stand back around his 10-yard line, hold everything a whistle. Our first flag of the night. I would venture to say that somebody was not set for the Bison. So that will back up the Bison 5. So false start. We'll set him back to the 16. That will put Trimble back to around the 5-yard line. Well, he's actually in the end zone now. He'll come out. So he should boot it around the 6. He'll grab it around the 4. Snap is back, boots it away. Not a good kick off the side of the foot, but will take a south bounce, and Lukow will cover it up at 35, maybe the 36. So good field position again for the T-Birds here in period number 1. 35-yard line exactly for Cheyenne East.
It's good job, though, by Trimble just to kind of, I guess you can say, quote-unquote, flip the field. At least he got East on the east side of the 50-yard line, and a nice, tumbling kick. And like you said, he got the turf bounce that we were talking about on that kickoff to start the game. That time a bounce that favored South very much there.
If it's a lower kick, if it's more of that line drive, you're going to get that skid on the turf. But unfortunately, if you kick it up high, then it's like hitting a 9-iron. It'll back up on you. Buell out of the gun. Keeps it himself on the quarterback option. Trying to get outside. Shucks away one tackler. Spun around and will drive forward. Nice play by Buell. The ball comes loose, but he's down at the 41. Pick up a 6 on the play. Buell was looking for a block on the outside. I don't know. I think he was looking at Ahmiller, and Ahmiller wasn't sure whether he was in the pass pattern or not.
It looked like a kind of a designed option play because you were right. The receiver just standing out there waiting, and then it looked like Buell was kind of undecided for the most part, but definitely a positive play on first down.
Michael I, along with Luke out to the near side, out on top is Ahmiller. Buell out of the gun, second down and 3 to Cooper. Cooper off tackle, first down, and down to the 40. We'll say it's near the 48-yard line. It's actually, now they're going to mark it back at the 47, so it'll be first down and 10. Ashmark to the near side again. East going left to right across your radio dial, or if you are streaming with us on Periscope via Twitter or YouTube, again, left to right as you are watching like we are.
That 1080 HP is looking pretty nice tonight.
First down and 10. Cooper again with the football. Gets outside and near midfield. They'll touch him down the knees at the 49, so he'll pick up a 2 on the play. Again, no score. East had the opening drive, took it all the way down, and then a missed field goal attempt of 33 yards from Dakota Merritt. Had enough foot, but it went off to the right. And it was 3 and out for the Fighting Bison. East now with the football as they again are approaching Fighting Bison territory. Second down, 8. Buell operates out of the gun. To his left is Riley Cooper. And movement in the backfield. Cooper was leaning just a little too much and came out of the stance. So it'll be a procedure call against Cheyenne East.
Got a little too antsy there. Of course, when you haven't played in really 6 quarters for Cooper, sometimes the adrenaline and the bugs or just the overall nervousness will get to you a little bit.
I'm wondering, do you think he was going to get the football? The answer to that question is yeah. Ball on the 44-yard line for the T-Birds, so that'll mark him back. Second down and 13. Clock is at the 3-minute mark here in quarter number 1. As time back to pass goes Buell. He'll step, he'll throw, he's got a man. That's the tight end. And a big hit as he will be dropped at the 49-yard line.
That was the freshman Hughes laying the lumber.
As Christian Arambula will make the grab, the 6'4" senior, out of his tight end position. And he will push the ball into South territory down to the 49. So for Cheyenne East, they are faced with a third down long. They need to get to the South 43. Third down 6. To the near side comes Ahmiller along with Merritt. Out on top is Michael I. Buell calls his own number straight ahead. Gets away from one tackler. 45. Down to the 44. Might be short of the first down. If not, he may have it. It is close. Depends on that spot.
It's looks like he got about 5.5 there. They're eyeballing it right now. They need one of those lasers.
It is fourth down. Fourth down and about a half yard. This is no brainer for Cheyenne East. They will go for it. Quickly coming in is Tanner Muchmore with a $1:55 to go here in the quarter. They are about a football length away from the first down. So in the backfield will be Zach Alexander. Along with Cooper over center will be Buell. Hands it off to Cooper. Cooper may have got it on second effort.
It looks like they're going to call it short. Great job there again by White, the middle linebacker. Gets it through untouched.
Yes, they will say he was dropped at the 44. I thought the second effort by Cooper might have got him there. So a nice job defensively by South High. Ball turned over on downs. Great field position for the Fighting Bison. First down and 10, spotted on their own 44-yard line.
Well, how about this South High defense right now? They've been giving up 40-plus points a game, and here in these first two possessions, really, they've been the aggressors. We saw the freshman lay some lumber, and then there the senior White with the big hit on Cooper.
First down and 10. First back through, that's Soto. Soto over almost near midfield, as he brings it down to the 49-yard line of the Fighting Bison. Almost a 5-yard gain in the play. We'll call it second down and a long 5.
On the stop, number 44.
So for the Cheyenne East Thunderbirds, they got to strap it up defensively.
Good push up front by the offensive line for South. Again, undersized line for South, but when you run that option scheme, you kind of like that undersized.
Wyatt Garcia, the wing to the near side. They'll go straight ahead again to Soto. Soto over midfield. He is close to a first down. And the ball right now resting at the 46-yard line of Cheyenne East. If that be the case, then they got a first down, their first one of the night.
Looks like the line judge is going to call it, and the official gives it to him. So the first down for South tonight.
Under a minute to play here in a very fast first quarter with no score.
That is the first down for the Bison.
And if we remember last week, I look over to Nick, it was pretty competitive against Casper Kelly Walsh until Kelly Walsh caught some steam in the second half.
Well,
Again, operating out of the wing tee. This time to Soto. Soto bounces off tackle down into East territory to the 43-yard line. Give him 3 on the play. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, the play was going on, but Spiegelberg, we saw him. He got better as the night went on. Same thing happened against South, where he just gets better as the game goes on and turned it on in the fourth quarter.
And actually, as I call that the wing, I should say it's more of a flex bone than it is a wing. But the two backs definitely are on the wing. We got a whistle.
Got to tie the shoe. It looks like Landon Eldridge.
We're down to the final seconds of quarter number 1 with 13 seconds. So they're going to send the Fighting Bison back to their offensive huddle.
Quick first quarter as well.
So now they'll wind it down. Burns over center again in the flex bone. In motion is Dominguez. Back to pass goes Burns. He swings it out. He's got Dominguez. 40-yard line. 35. And then driven out at the East 32-yard line. So first down and 10 after the quarter has ended. So when we come back, the Fighting Bison will have it first down and 10, spotted on the East 31-yard line. We're back after the 60-second timeout on 1480 KRAE. No score. Chris Bolton, Nick Proetti taking care of all of the YouTubing and the Periscope via Twitter as we are here live tonight at the Okie Blanchard Sports Complex. South right now on a march at the East 31-yard line. They have first down at 10. Burns brings them up with the flex bone in motion. He'll keep it himself, pitches it back. Bad pitch, but nice grab. Still on his feet near the first down. By the way, that was Wyatt Garcia who was in motion on the option. Garcia, 5'6", 172-pound senior. He is close to the first down to the 22-yard line, second down and 1 for Coach Gallus. That opens up a lot of possibilities in the playbook, or you play it by, you play it close to the cuff.
Well, and for Soto, he's been efficient enough going up in the belly that time Burns was able to pull it out, and they had nobody containing outside. Luckily for them, Allmiller was able to run down Garcia.
In motion again. This time is Dominguez. They'll give it off to Soto. Soto first down inside the 20 to the 19. First down and 10 for the Fighting Bison, looking to put points on the scoreboard first. East had a shot on a very well-sustained drive in the first quarter on the opening drive, and unfortunately Dakota Merritt could not get the field goal to go through.
One thing you got to ask if you're Coach Goff is, did these guys think they can just show up and win a game? You're going to have to bring it no matter what night you're playing and no matter who you're playing against.
Burns calls his own number, and he will pop it down to the 15-yard line. So Burns brings it 4 more yards closer, and it's second down and 6, spotted on the east 15-yard line. Just underway here in quarter number 2, and we have no score, however, for the Fighting Bison. They're knocking on the door. And you were talking here during the break, possibly, South did not get the memo that they're not supposed to win this thing.
Right.
This time Burns again calls his own number, and he's driven back maybe forward progress just inside the 15, so it'll be third down and long. And you have to remember in this series, and this is a short series of 7 years, East has lost 1 time. And that still sticks in the craw of Coach Chad Goff. And now, if he can relay that message, which he has been all week to his team, unfortunately, they haven't read the memo yet.
Right. Like I said, it just seems like, especially on offense, they kind of came out a little flat, like they can almost do whatever they wanted. But South is punching back right now.
In motion, this time is Dominguez. It will be Burns calling his own number. He's in. Touchdown. Burns off the left side, and he'll score as he goes over Jace Packard and Griffin Belaski. Nice job that time by Burns, the sophomore, 6'5" sophomore. He'll take it in from 14, and the South High Fighting Bison lead early 6-0.
Great job. He sold the fake to Soto, and nobody was on the containment as they went with the counter option instead of just the regular triple option. And East not staying disciplined against this running threat of South High.
South will set up for the PAT now as they set up a different look to throw off East. Soto will hold. The freshman Adrian Reynolds will put it through the uprights. Placement is down. Kick is up, high enough, long enough, and good. South 7, East nothing. 9:37 to go first half on the Pepsi scoreboard. We're back after this 60-second timeout on 1480 KRAE. Back to the Oakey Blanchard Sports Complex. Well, Pedro Silva kicked off initially for the Fighting Bison. Looks like the freshman Reynolds will come on to boot it away now for Cheyenne South. Leading 7-0 here, 9:37 to go in the first half.
Well, and this very quick running first half as well, but how about South and their underclassmen, their freshmen? An extra point is still tough, especially in high school. He nails it right down the middle. And then you have Braden Hughes as the corner, just laying the lumber on a guy that's about 3 times his size. South High, Coach Gallus has got his guys believing, and the last thing you want if you're East is giving South any type of momentum at all, especially with a team that's been down for the most part this year.
Schroeder along with Robert Lukow, they are back deep. Standing around their 10-yard line, Schroeder around the 8. as Reynolds will boot it away. Again, he is a freshman. And it's going to be a squibber picked up by one of the upbacks, and that being Eldridge, and Eldridge is clobbered right away. Looks like at the 31-yard line for Cheyenne East.
Brady Dunn laying the, Allmiller not really picking it up with any sense of urgency, just ran through Allmiller. I'll tell you what, this South team.
That was Eldridge.
Eldridge just kind of went down, haphazardly picking it up. But you got to like this fight out of the Bison right now, because they're the ones being the aggressor. And if you're going to come into somebody's house and win, you have to punch them in the mouth, and South is doing that right now. I don't think East is ready for it.
Graydon Buell will come back out on the field. He will have Christian Anderton now in the backfield. Anderton is a 5'9" junior, 160-pounder, and he will line up to the left of Buell. Fake the handoff. Buell dumps it off into the hands of Aaron Beulah. Aaron Beulah bumped, still on his feet, and will have enough for the first down. I think he was knocked out. Let's see where they'll officially spot him. If they spot him at the 41, that'll be a 10-yard gain. Again, just a little floater to Aaron Beulah, who, again, blocked and then just kind of slithered on out.
Yeah, and Beulah with a great touch over the linebacker to give him the nice easy float. How about South again trying to lay another big hit, but this time the big tight end was ready for it.
First down and 10. Miller is split out on top. Michaeli to the near side. And Buell hands it off to Anderson. Anderson, midfield, 45-40, and he will drive up to down to the 41-yard line. They'll say his knees touched at the 42. Big run that time by Christian Anderson. And for the Cheyenne East Thunderbirds, they're now on the march in South Territory again for the third time here in the first half, as they will be at the South High 37.
We've seen Anderton make some big plays against Casper Kelly Walsh on that bit long pass play, and here maybe getting some momentum on that big 23-yard run.
First down and 10. Buell back to pass. Steps, wants it all, going downfield long, can't get the connection. I do believe that would have been with Merritt. It's incomplete. We do have some laundry down across the way at the 34.
Yeah.
It's in some type of holding.
Yeah, as you can see, East going back. Buell tried to fit it in a very tight window, trying to throw it on the line, and just out through Dakota Merritt, which is pretty tough with Merritt's speed.
Holding, again, Cheyenne East. So from the previous spot, they will march it back to the 47-yard line of the Fighting Bison, give East first down and now 20. As Lukow will come in, he will bring the play from the sideline. Stops the clock with 9:03 to go here in the first half. South 7, East nothing. Buell again operated out of the gun. Anderton to his right. East now going right to left across your radio dial. Anderton with the football, straight ahead, 40-yard line, cuts it on the far side. Loses the football, but no indication, and now they're going to wait for the side judge to make that decision. As the umpire came in, did not make an indication. Anderton lost it at the 33. Now they're huddling up. That may not be good news for the T-Birds.
They're going to call him down.
They're going to say it's second down. Anderton down at the 33. East breathes a huge sigh of relief. That's the second time that they put the ball on the turf. Luckily, their knees were down before the ball.
How about for Anderton, despite the fact he almost coughed that up, he's got 2 carries and 38 yards to start it off. Make that 37 yards.
8 minutes to go here in the first half. Anderton lines up about a yard behind Buell out of the gun. They'll call Anderton's number again. Off tackle left side, drives down to the 27-yard line. He should have the first down. So it should be another fresh set of downs. That's on the inside part of the 27. So for Cheyenne East, they'll load it up again, first and 10.
You've seen Anderton make plays to really swing momentum. He did it against the Trojans and Casper Kelly Walsh. He's doing it right here on this drive, really being the mainstay. 3 touches, 43 yards for Anderton. Really their third back as far as the depth chart goes.
Michaeli along with Lukow to the near side. In motion goes Lukow. Buell will call his own number as he fakes the handoff.
And the ball for the T-Birds. Great
As Buell will go straight ahead, down. Let's see where the knees touch. It looks like the 21-yard line. Again, Lukow and Buell faking on the fly sweep. So it will be second down for Cheyenne East. Ball on the 21-yard line. They need to get just in front of the 17. Second down, we'll call it a short 5.
Press coverage now on the outside on these receivers.
Anderton to the right. Back to pass goes Buell. He'll loft one up for Michael. He can't make the grab. It was balancing on his fingertips. He just couldn't haul it in. And a nice touch pass from Buell. It'll be third down.
That's one Michael I's got to come up with. And how about Graydon Buell trusting the fact that it's his guy versus their guy, and
Hughes about 5 inches advantage.
Yeah, exactly. So seeing that one-on-one coverage, seeing it as bump coverage, all Michael I had to do was get around him, and he did with no type of contact on the release. Just couldn't make the play, couldn't finish the play.
Third down again, short 5. Schroeder will split to the near side. Buell operates again out of the gun. Anderton to his right. Buell rolls to his right. Steps, throws. He's got Aaron Buell to the 10. There's a flag down. Aaron Buell will be inside the 5, but I think it's going to come back.
Yeah, blindside block there. The new rule, when you're coming back to the line of scrimmage, you can't make that block on the blind. Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. And it looks like number 24, Gabe Trujillo, is the one that took the block. A good block 5 years ago. Now it's a penalty.
So Aaron Buell dropped at the 5, and Cheyenne East is going to be trotting way back. This is going to be a big one. So legal crackback. So with that, the flag is down. So let's see where they'll mark it. The official picks up the flag at the 14, and they're going to take it back to the original line of down to the 29. So it's going to be at the 29, so it's going to be a 15-yard penalty, and that would have been first down.
It would. Now it's third and long, and for South, 3 penalties, 30 yards. We saw it a little bit against
East.
East with now 3 penalties and 30 yards. Discipline really hurting them here against a team that they shouldn't be having these type of issues against.
Ball on the 29-yard line. Third down and 13 for the T-Birds. Buell back to pass. Plenty of time. Steps up in the pocket. Wants it all. Going long for Allmiller. Touchdown! Nice job by Allmiller. He looked one way and then looked over his opposite shoulder, and he'll catch the pass for the touchdown.
Great job by Allmiller. He saw the ball, recognized it, made the adjustment, and even bigger job by Allmiller as he kept at least that 1 foot in.
Nice job on the flag pattern by Allmiller, and Cheyenne East can draw even at the 6:16 mark. Merritt out of the hold of Buell. Snap is back, placement is down, kick through the uprights, and we're tied. 7 up, 6:16 to go on the Pepsi scoreboard. We will be back after the 60-second timeout on 1480 KRAE. East draws even with South, 7-7, as we are waiting for the ensuing kickoff from Dakota Merritt. Back deep will be Dominguez for the Cheyenne South Fighting Bison. He's going to be joined by Storm Nelson. Nelson's a 5'9", 149-pound sophomore.
Let's see how South responds to that. They had all the momentum, about a quarter and change, and a big play by Chance Allmiller and Graydon Buell on that connection for a touchdown. This is going to be a big drive for South, and for East, it's time to put the foot on the throat here of the Bison and come up with a big stop.
7-7 our score as we're just about midway through quarter number 2. Nice kick by Merritt. That goes out of the end zone. A little wind aided as well. Again, a southeasterly breeze, and actually it's a very, very beautiful night again here in the Cap City.
You don't see as much of the smoke that we've seen the last couple of nights, which is good because as we remember our week 0 Central and Thunder Basin, the smoke was kind of had a little bit to play into that game because the air quality wasn't the greatest.
As it's now becoming dusk here in our part of the world. Again, still a wonderful night for football. You got plenty of time to come on out, and we got a great game in progress right now. First down and 10. Burns over center. He's back to pass. He steps. He throws. He was looking for, I do believe that was the tight end, Hunter Scott, 6'2", 231-pound junior, incomplete. Second down and 10.
That was a quick three-step drop, and just throw it up as high as you can to give Scott the chance. Scott with Schroeder on him and has a little bit of a size advantage, especially weight-wise, so maybe trying to pull like a little Gronk type deal and seeing if he can body him up there. But
also throwing into the wind or the breeze, and again, you can tell it was a little bit of a flutter pass. Operating out of the flex bone in motion this time is Dominguez. First back through. That would be, looks like Soto. Soto for a very short gain to the 22. And it will be second down and 8. Again, that's just good old-fashioned dive right. Third down and 8, excuse me.
Yeah, it's tough when you're a team that's not very good at third and long and you have an empty first down. It makes it really tough to kind of make that up. And here for South, they've converted on 1 third down. They're going to have a big third and long here, though.
Coach Gallus stands around his 26-yard line, cheering on his offensive unit in motion. This time is Garcia. Garcia outside, still on his feet. He'll have the first down and more. Oh, what a play by Wyatt Garcia. He bumped off one tackler at the 25-yard line and threw the shoulder down and maintained his balance all the way to the South 34-yard line.
Michael, I was there to make the tackle. Garcia got lower, and when you go into that type of game, the lower guy is always going to win, and Garcia did a great job with that second effort to get the first down.
Same thing that happened last week at Thunder Basin. East not wrapping up. First down and 10. Out of the flex bone. First back, no. Burns will call his own number. He drives forward, and he will push it over the 35-yard line to the 37. Second down and 7. So a nice little drive in the making right now by the Fighting Bison, albeit 17 yards on this drive.
Well, and anytime you run this type of offense, you'll take 3 yards on the first play because that is going to give you a little bit more manageable situation on second down.
We're tied 7-7 at the Oakey Blanchard Sports Complex. 4:50 on the Pepsi scoreboard. Burns calls his own number again, drives forward over the 40, near the 41. It'll be third down for the Fighting Bison. We'll call it 3. It's going to be right at about 3 yards if I look at the stakes across the way.
I like what Burns does there. He lets Soto come in, and then he just follows right behind his 176-pound back, who kind of laid the way there for him for that 4-yard gain.
And they're running the belly to the perfection right now. That's putting a smile on Coach Gallus's face. Again, out of the flex bone. In motion this time is Dominguez. They'll hand it off to Soto. Soto stacked up and dropped right at the line of scrimmage. Nice job that time by the interior Cheyenne East as they will drop Soto in his tracks. It's fourth down. Question is, will they boot it away? Trimble is the kicker.
Diesling and Carlos on that defensive tackle tandem there did a great job because we've seen Soto sneak through that first line.
So 4th down, ball on the Bison 41-yard line. And now they'll make that decision to boot it away with about 3:30 on the Pepsi scoreboard.
Not sure about the play clock, too. They're going to be running close against it because they're just now getting to the line.
Schroeder along with Lukow back deep. He'll retreat. Snap is back. Trimble will keep it. 40-yard line, and he was short of the first down. Fumbles the football, but he was downed at the 42, and the Thunderbirds did not buy on the fake. They did not bite, and they will stop Trimble after only a yard gain. East with great field position, fighting Bison 42-yard line.
Yeah, great job really by the special teams coach in general. You know South, they're going to have to pull out all the stops if they're going to make an upset going for it on a 4th down and shortish. You knew at some point you'd see that. I don't like it being on that side on the South High side, because now you're going to give East a really good chance here at the end of the half for a chance to go into the break with the lead.
1st down and 10, they'll pitch it back, flip it back to Anderson. Anderson outside, 40-yard line, turns it up, 30-yard line. Spun around out at the 25 as he's down to the Fighting Bison 25-yard line after a 17-yard pickup. 1st down and 10. Clock stopped at the 3:01 mark here in period number 1. They'll say the 26 officially.
Just 4 touches now for Anderton, 59 yards. He's been the difference maker here in this second quarter.
Anderton with the powder blue shoes, I like it. Straight ahead, 1st down. Play as he will take it behind the big hosses up front. He will drop down to the 20-yard line for the Thunderbirds and a no-huddle offense. 6 yards on that gain. We'll actually give him 7. So it'll be 2nd down. We'll call it a long 3. Buell swings it out. He's got Merritt. Merritt, 15, 10, and drives all the way down to the 9-yard line before he's kicked out of bounds. 1st down and goal for the T-Birds at the 9.
The up-tempo is really getting after South here, and we've seen this up-tempo offense really have a lot of success, especially here at Oakey Blanchard, when you don't have to contest with a lot of noise or anything like that.
Buell hold everything, got a flag, and I think this one might be against the T-Birds. Illegal motion. And that will set them back 5 to the 14. So on the false start, 2:35 to go, Pepsi scoreboard. Makes the field a little bigger for Buell now if he has to throw the football. So for the East T-Birds, 1st down and goal.
Didn't have the issue this last time when they got behind the chains. Just threw a long pass up to Allmiller, who made a great play. But with 2:35 and you're on the 14-yard line, 1st and goal, you got plenty of time. You have a lot of options right here.
Buell with trips out on top. Back to pass. He'll loft one up for Schroeder. Touchdown! Ox Schroeder, who was pushed from behind as he beat the coverage, makes the grab. 14-yard TD pass for Graydon Buell, and the T-Birds now lead 13-7.
Ox Schroeder, that's now his... for Ox Schroeder, that's now his 3rd touchdown catch for Buell, 2nd touchdown here tonight.
So that'll make the score 13-7 T-Birds. The pass interference play obviously will be wiped off by the Cheyenne East Thunderbirds.
We talked about how they would maybe go after the freshman. That's now twice the freshman has been beat for touchdowns. That time he just shoved, I think he shoved Schroeder knowing he was beat. That was probably his only chance.
Yeah, he was beat right around the 3-yard line, and that's when he stuck the arms out to push Schroeder. Schroeder did lose a little bit on the stride, but still had enough to get the arms outstretched for the TD pass. So for Cheyenne East, they've answered back with the last 2 scores here as they now lead 13-7 and hold everything. Another flag as a snap comes back to Buell. Cheyenne East Thunderbirds making these mistakes that do not make the coaching staff pretty happy. These are, a sleep of the wheel type of mistakes. Again, another false start.
That's the
fourth. And these guys know what the snap count is.
Right, that's the 4th pre-snap penalty as well, and those are really no excuses when it comes to pre-snap penalties. The crackback, the blindside block, you can kind of live with that. It's kind of the heat of the moment. He's trying to spring his guy for extra yards, but the pre-snap is unforgivable.
Merritt's kick through the uprights, good. East 14, South 7. 2:31 to go in the first half. We're back after this 60-second timeout on 1480 KRAE. Larry Perotti along with Chris Polton, Nick Perotti, as the East High T-Birds now lead 14-7. There was a penalty, unsportsmanlike conduct, or correct me if I'm wrong.
Pass interference.
The pass interference one was marked off against the Fighting Bison, so it will put East kicking off on the Fighting Bison 45-yard line. This sets up a scenario where you could onside it if you want.
Sure, you're not going to really hurt your field position at all if South covers it.
South doesn't have their hands team up front. I mean, it's a thought, but I would assume Merritt's going to boot it through. Probably hit the band out there warming up.
Could hit it to, was it Prairie View Golf Course.
And he does keep it low on the ground, and it is fumbled, then finally picked up by Storm Hughes. And he will get to the 19-yard line. Storm Nelson, excuse me. So Nelson returns it to the 19. That means Larry's got to turn the lights on now. Larry's getting old.
And Storm should not have touched that. That thing was going to roll out of the back of the end zone the way it was going. He tried to knock it down. Just give yourself the 25. Give yourself no time off the clock or anything like that. Now you're kind of setting yourself up where you're inside your own 20. Now both teams do have 3 timeouts. We'll see here if East can stop them on these first 2 plays, if Goff goes to use his timeouts and try to extend this lead before they go into the half.
Out of the flex bone. In motion is Garcia. Hand off to the first back. Try to go outside. And that being Soto, no gain, maybe a loss of a yard, but I think they're going to spot him at the 19. And a timeout called by East. There you go. They first initially said it was on Cheyenne South. So with a timeout, 2:14 to go. East 14, South 7. We're back after this 30-second timeout on 1480 KRAE. Yeah, the early start tonight, not going to be a lot in the way of scores, but we'll try to get you caught up as best we can coming up here at halftime. Right now, the numbers on the board, 14-7. You are absolutely right, Chris, that the East High Thunderbirds said, hey, you know what? We want the ball again. So Burns, second down, in motion is Garcia. They'll pitch it back to Garcia. He tries to get outside, shucks off one tackler, down the sidelines to the 40-yard line, and is driven out. Nice run that time by Wyatt Garcia. He will be knocked out at the 44-yard line, first down and 10.
Yeah, he's getting loose outside as Garcia. That's the second big run for him.
And that's terrible containment by the East Thunderbirds. Nobody coming up from the secondary to help out with the backers.
He's now got 3 touches for 47 yards for the little back out of the backfield.
First down and 10. South on their own 44-yard line. In motion this time again is Garcia to the opposite side as he comes to the near side to the 45, and it will be second down and 9.
That time they had the containment set. They didn't let the ends, the tackles, clip in the ends for that outside containment, and as much as they tried, South looks like
East wants the timeout with a $1:43 to go. 14-7 our score. We're back after this 30-second timeout on 1480 KRAE. It was called by Cheyenne South, the timeout, with the ball rested on their own 45-yard line. Rock Springs leading Casper Kelly Walsh second quarter. It's 14-0 in that contest. Here, 14-7, East leading South. Second down and 9. Burns back to pass. He looks, he throws, he's going downfield. Go, man! That's Garcia. White Garcia. Tackled by Lukow, saving the touchdown as he had a step on Robert Lukow, and he'll be brought down at the 21-yard line on the hash mark to the far side. Nice pass by Burns to Wyatt Garcia. We got a football game going on here tonight, folks, and glad that you are watching it and you're here in attendance and you're listening to it.
Garcia now with plays of 13, 25, and that time a 39-yard reception.
This time they'll pitch it back to Dominguez. Dominguez will be dropped for a huge loss to the 24. So that'll be a 3-yard loss, and quickly Coach Gallus will call a timeout. $1:16 to go in a very fast first half that is being slowed down now because the South High Fighting Bison are looking for pay dirt. We're back after this 30-second timeout on 1480 KRAE. Now rested on the T-Bird 24-yard line. And we were watching earlier, Chris, the freshman Reynolds, he can actually hit from this distance. He will be kicking into a little bit of a breeze if the drive stalls.
Right, and how about South, too, really coming back after back-to-back possessions for East, turning into touchdowns, trying to see if they can't even this up going into the break.
Garcia, they'll get him on the flex bone as he will get down inside the 20. Lukow got him around the knees and drops him. Let's see where they'll spot it at on the sweep to the outside on the far side, down to the 19-yard line. So it'll be third down and long. Need to get to the 11. Third down and 8. Obviously 4-down territory, or you will set it up for the field goal, and Coach Gallus has one timeout left. Hash mark to the far side. Burns has Garcia in motion. Fakes the handoff to Garcia. Rolls to his right side. Steps, throws. Got a man. That's Dominguez. Inside the 10 to the 5. And then driven out of bounds. And that's huge, being driven out of bounds.
Yeah, great job by Dominguez. Second, third effort. And what was even bigger, too, was that Burns on the run threw it to Dominguez, but kept him in stride to have him head upfield. Now first and goal for South with 30 seconds left.
At the 5-yard line of the T-Birds. One timeout remaining for Coach Gallus. 30 ticks left on the clock here in the first half. 14-7 our score. The Bison knock it on the door. Out of the flex bone. Burns pitches it off to Wyatt Garcia. Garcia turns it back inside. Is he in? No indication yet. No, he's not in.
They do have one timeout, South does, and they're at the 1.
They are inside the 1 yard line. Wyatt Garcia went off tackle, then cut it back inside, and Coach Gallus will call his final timeout with 14 seconds to go here. We'll keep it here. Oh, by the way, it will be East kicking off to South. They'll open up period number 3.
One thing I noticed, this is the first time we've been able to see behind as far as the option offense goes. Dominguez is doing a great job getting that outside man and pinning him, either pushing him out or pinning him in, giving Garcia one way or another. So Garcia's been the man. He's got over 100 yards or over 90 yards of total offense, but Dominguez is the guy that's springing Garcia, and then why that left side has been so open for the running back in this first half.
Christian Martinez, Jace Packard, along with Griffin Belaski, they are making things happen right now, especially as they are pushing down. Packard is pushing inside, allowing Garcia to break outside, or, again, as he's got his eyes wide open, especially when he goes to that left side, he can either cut it back in or kick it outside, and Packard is doing a heck of a job right now for those Fighting Bison.
Got time for 2 run plays here. Like to see Soto get both of them.
Second down go, and it will Burns call his own number. He's in. Touchdown.
Just kidding. Maybe just have Burns run it in.
14-13 our score with 16 seconds to go.
Larry, just a phenomenal drive for a team full of underclassmen. Not a bunch of seniors out there, but for Coach Gallus, with 16 seconds left, you have a great opportunity to get into the break, tied up at 14.
As the South High Fighting Bison set up in a monster offense, and then they close it all back in. Soto will hold. Reynolds will attempt the PAT, and East will call a timeout.
Trying to ice the kicker on an extra point attempt, maybe?
With 16 seconds to go until halftime. While we got a chance, let's take a 30-second timeout. You're listening to high school football right here on 1480 KRAE. Welcome to the party, because it is a party right here at Cheyenne East tonight, and spoiling it, the uninvited guest, the South High Fighting Bison right now. It's 14-13 as Reynolds will attempt the PAT out of the hold of Soto. The snap is back. The placement is down. Reynolds' kick is through the uprights, and we're tied. 14-14 between the T-Birds and the South High Fighting Bison.
And
wow.
We've seen Dakota Merritt. He's got a great leg. The wind's at his back. 16 seconds. We'll see how South approaches this kickoff here. Will they try to squib it again or try to get him as deep as they possibly can? But with one timeout, if they get it around the 30, 35-yard line, you can have a chance for a big pass play in the middle of the field. Call a timeout and see what Dakota Merritt can do.
Well, right now, the East High Thunderbirds, and I would think the fans on this side are just in shock. This shouldn't be happening. Across the way, the South High Fighting Bison fans are going, hey, this is the team we've been waiting for all season long. So, again, Coach Gallus has his team pretty prepped and ready for this one. Coach Goff right now is going to have to go back and bang on the chalkboard a couple, 3 times to tell his defense, guys, you just can't just put on the powder blue uniforms and they're going to roll over and play dead. It's not going to happen.
No, you can't just show up. Not when it comes to being a crosstown rival as well. And for South, they took their lumps against Natrona. against Thunder Basin. They started showing a little bit of life against Kelly Walsh, and here in this first half, showing a whole lot of life. And right now, they got to be believing on that south sideline that, hey, they can win this game. They can come into Oakey Blanchard and steal one.
14-14 our score. Reynolds will have it teed up. Back deep is Schroeder along with Lukow. They will be up tight around the 20-yard line for Lukow. The kick will come down in and out of the hands of Eldridge, who will pick it up. He'll get a block from Schroeder, and Eldridge to the 30-yard line and driven out. All of a sudden, there was nobody in front of him, and then he got hit from the side and driven out. Let's see where they'll spot him at the 33 with 9 seconds left. One of those, do you take a chance, throw it on top?
Here's the deal. I think you probably have to get about 30, 40 yards from where to have a prayer. That kickoff took about half the time as there was 16 seconds left. I would think if you're Coach Goff, you may try to just run a little dive up the middle. You've seen Anderton able to bust a couple out, and he will be Anderton in the backfield. So,
and I would have everybody playing center field in the secondary, which you have right now, dropping back almost 20 yards.
Yeah, it's Tyler Wilkin and Hughes way back as they're doing a very deep cover 3 for South.
Trips to the near side. Buell back to pass. Rolls to his left. He steps under pressure, throws it, intercepted! And it's picked off by Wright, I do believe. Kari Wright picks it off and he'll return it to the south. Check that to the east 45-yard line, but it's intermission. So the first half ends on a South High interception. They will have the football to open up the second half. We got a tie game, 14-14 here at the Oakey Blanchard Sports Complex. We are going to be back and sort through everything after this 2-minute timeout right here on 1480 KRAE. At Oakey Blanchard Sports Complex, where the East High Thunderbirds, who are trying to bounce back after a whooping last week at Thunder Basin, find themselves in a great, well, let's add a third team now to the crosstown rivalry, the South High Fighting Bison, who have been trying to find some type of identity. And, of course, the moral victory last week was scoring 15 points against Casper Kelly Walsh. Well, they just about equaled that here in the first half against Cheyenne East. Thunderbirds, I don't know if they're into the locker room right now shocked, or like you said, they totally did not respect their opponent that was in here tonight?
I wouldn't be shocked if they're getting, for lack of a better way to put it, a come to Jesus talk from Coach Chad Goff, because that was not the half that I'm sure he was hoping for. His offense was able to move, but the penalties killed them. 5 penalties, 40 yards in that first half, and a lot of them came while they were driving the ball on third down. Now they've gotten, I wouldn't say lucky, but they've gotten some big plays from Buell and the outside receivers and Schroeder and Allmiller, but for East on defense, they're not staying disciplined against this triple option effect, and I think we're starting to see Cade Burns really get a little confidence slinging the football a little bit.
I think we're seeing film on Cheyenne East over the last 2 weeks where the tackling has been suspect on the defensive side. Again, not wrapping up, trying to get these guys up high, and they are struggling to bring down these would-be runners, whether it's Spiegelberg last week up in Thunder Basin, or here tonight with the likes of Garcia and Dominguez. So, and really, Garcia has been the one-man wrecking crew right now for the South High Fighting Bison. Now, on the opposite side, on the offensive side, Cheyenne East has shown sustained drives, but they also have shot themselves in the foot too, a missed field goal after a penalty marching them back. And again, they have made those type of mistakes, and you mentioned that on those procedure calls or
pre-snap
penalties. They shouldn't be happening right now. So right now for the East High Thunderbirds here at home, and you figure with home cooking and the South High Fighting Bison 0-3, who have given up a lot of points in 3 weeks, you're like, okay, this one, we should be hopefully having a running clock. But you don't say that to Chad Goff. He knows these guys are here for business.
Well, and one thing you have to like too, if you're Coach Gallus, is you haven't had your defense out for too many plays. You haven't had your offense out for too many plays. They've really done a good job sustaining drives, and then on times where they've absolutely been able to get that third down stop as well. And besides Hughes being burnt twice, he's playing pretty well on the outside, freshman. And then you have your freshman kicker in Rodriguez, 2 for 2 with the extra points, big extra points as well.
14-14 at the intermission. We are being entertained, as you can hear in the background, by the East High Marching Band. We're going to take a 2-minute timeout. We come back. Chris is going to throw you some numbers. And there are some good numbers if you are a Fighting Bison fan, and there's some good numbers if you're an East High fan. We'll be back after these words right here on 1480 KRAE. to the Oakland Blanchard Sports Complex. Larry Proetti along with Chris Polton and Nick Proetti. And Nick made a very good point to me, as I was saying. You can hear the East High Marching Band. Those of you that are with us via Periscope and Twitter, also on YouTube, you can watch the marching band of Cheyenne East as they are performing here during halftime. So thank you to Nick for providing us with our halftime pictures here. Chris, you have some numbers, so while they're getting ready for the next tune, let's load up on some numbers.
South High, we'll start with them. Cade Burns, 3 of 5 passing, 63 yards, had two big third down conversions, a 39-yard pass and a 13-yard pass. As far as rushing goes, Soto with the most attempts, 8 carries for just 19 yards. Garcia, you're going to be hearing a lot from him as far as yardage goes in this first half. He had six carries for 57 yards. Burns called his own number 5 times. He had 26 yards, also 2 rushing touchdowns, a 14-yard and that 1-yard touchdown with 16 seconds left in the first half. Receiving-wise, Garcia with 1 catch for 39 yards, so 96 yards in that first half for Garcia. 2 more catches for Dominguez for 24 yards. They had 6 first downs in that first half. They were 2 of 4 on third down, just 2 penalties, but for 20 yards for the Fighting Bison. For East, Graydon Buell, 7 of 11, 2 touchdown passes for 97 yards. That INT at the very end, an INT that's going to be on the stat sheet, but he was just throwing up a prayer at the end that would just happened to be caught by the other team. As far as rushing goes, it's been Riley Cooper. He had 7 touches for 19 yards in his first game back. Buell, he has 5 touches for 24 yards. It's been Anderton in the backfield, 5 carries for 65 yards for Anderton. Chance Allmiller, 2 catches and a touchdown for 44 yards. Ox Schroeder has a catch for 14 yards. Merritt has a catch for 11 yards. And then it's their big tight end, Aaron Beulah, thank you, with 2 catches for 17 yards. And then Robert Lookout for East, 1 catch, 5 yards. They had 7 first downs. They were 4 for 6 on third downs. 5 penalties, 40 yards in that first half for Coach Goff and the Thunderbirds. So not a lot of disparity, even yard-wise as well, between East and South, and big reason why we see a tie ball game at the half.
All right, we're going to take a timeout. We'll come back, and we will get you caught up on Class 4A football scores. Also, we know that Burns and Pine Bluff's also in action tonight. Burns taking on 3A opponent, the Buffalo Bison, and the Hornets also in action. We'll have those scores coming up for you. And again, most of the action is underway at 7:20. So we'll be back. Let's take a 60-second timeout right here on 1480 KRAE. Check out our scoreboard, Class 4A. Also, the Burns Bronx in action. They're taking on the Bison of Buffalo, and Pine Bluff's in action. So what do we got, Class 4A, for this evening?
No score between number 1 Natrona and Laramie thus far. They're still early in that first quarter. Number 2 Thunder Basin up 7-0 over number 3 Sheridan. Sheridan finally had that long winning streak snapped against Natrona. That's in the first quarter. Rock Springs still up 14-0. That game is at half. Central and Campbell County just getting underway as well. That's no score, as well as I believe that game is in Gillette. As far as the Burns goes, Burns and Buffalo, number 2 Buffalo up 14-0 over Burns. That's in the third quarter. No score thus far in the first quarter for number 2 Pines Bluff in 1A.
And they are matching up with tonight Southeast, the Cyclones, Southeast Goshen Cyclones. So again, no score between Pine and the Cyclones. So let's take a 60-second timeout. We'll go around the Major League ballparks, and again, my Giants and my Rockies are playing tonight, so we'll see how that's matching up as they're getting together at AT&T. We'll also keep an eye on the Dodgers and St. Louis. I know that Chris has a vested interest in that as well. We'll be back after this 60-second timeout on 1480 KRAE. Take a look at the ball scorers around the major leagues. They've moved to the bottom of the fourth inning at Busch. Dodgers are leading the Cardinals by the count of 1-0. Yankees in a battle with the Oakland Athletics for that first place wild card spot, and the Pinstripers are clobbering the Blue Jays in the Bronx right now. They've moved to the top of the seventh. That score is 9-0. Swinging A's and the Rays, they're at the top of the eighth inning. That is in the Trop. That score is 1-1 between Oakland as well as Tampa. And Tampa has been one of the hottest teams in Major League Baseball. The A's chasing after the Astros in the AL West. Bottom of the fourth inning at Minute Maid. Diamondbacks are tied with the Astros 2-2. By the way, the D-backs started 4.5 back of the Colorado Rockies at game time for this evening. Giants and the Rocks, they are scheduled to get underway at 8:15 Mountain Time. It will be Tyler Anderson on the hill for the Colorado Rockies, as he is 6-8 on the season. He'll be matching up against Chris Stratton for the San Francisco Giants. So we got you caught up from the ballparks. We got you caught up from Class 4A football. The Burns Bronx in action tonight as they are taking on the Buffalo Bison. Also in Class 1A, Pine Bluffs with no score against Southeast Goshen, the Cyclones. So we are ready for the second half kickoff coming up after the 60-second timeout right here on 1480 KRAE. Once again, Pepsi of Cheyenne sponsoring a Pepsi scoreboard, Medicap Pharmacy, Key of Cheyenne, Lennox Auto Body, the Bread Basket Bakery, First Education, Federal Credit Union, Fat Boys Tire and Auto, B&B Appliance and TV, Capital Lumber Company, Halliday Motors, along with MHP, McGee Hernan Pies here in Cheyenne. Also, too, thank you to Terrell Honda, Baskin Robbins, Cheyenne State Bank, Merritt Plumbing and Heating, Chick-fil-A, Cheyenne Auto Repair and Service, the Guild Window Company, Best Western Plus, Frontier Inn, Little Philly, Jolly Rogers RV Sales and Service, Platte Valley Bank, Taco John's, Marv's Plumbing Heating, First Tier Bank, and Big Apple Bagels. Our score at the intermission as we are ready to get him underway with quarter number 3, 14-14, back deep for the Fighting Bison. It'll be Storm Nelson, and he will be joined by Dominguez, and Dakota Merritt to boot it away. Again, the wind at the East Eye Thunderbird back. And Merritt sends it about 8 yards deep into the end zone.
No return.
And no return, as you hear in the background. So for the Fighting Bison, they'll start on their 20-yard line. How important is this first drive for the Fighting Bison? How important defensively for Cheyenne East?
Well, it's huge because the Fighting Bison have really been able to run the ball well. They've pass efficient enough to keep them on their toes, and they stay disciplined in the standpoint that they keep going to Soto to make sure they know that play is there. East just needs to stay disciplined. Stick with your assignment. Don't try to do somebody else's assignment, and if they do that, they'll be fine.
Burns will have Dominguez in motion. They'll come back to Soto. Soto first back out of the backfield, drives forward for a couple of yards. Again, operate on flex bone. How many times have you seen Air Force or seen teams that run the flex bone that have a quarterback that's about 5'9", 5'10", 5'11"? Not 6'5".
No, I mean, Arian Worthman, the guy that is the current signal caller for Air Force, he's not much taller than I am. I'm about 5'10".
I mean, this, and again, too, it also gives you that advantage when you want to throw the football because he's got good vision downfield. Second down and 8 for the Fighting Bison. This time in motion is Dominguez. They'll hand it off again to Soto as they pound you with a big fullback, and Soto drives to the 27, third down and 3.
I mean, Soto, 10 carries, just 26 yards, but the biggest thing with that fullback is you got to stay committed to it because that's how the fakes work. The fakes work off the fact that you're going to make the middle stay disciplined and stay in the middle. And sooner or later, you're going to see these linebackers start to suck in, and then what's going to happen? Burns is going to pull it out and pitch it out to that wing back.
Third down 3 for the Fighting Bison. Burns. He'll call his own number. He'll have the first down and drive forward to the 32-yard line, and it's first down and 10. So a fresh set of downs, and the test on the defense right now by the Fighting Bison as they continue to march it on the ground, and then they're not afraid to throw it at specific times.
Well, we saw 2 carries in a row for Soto, and it looked like they were just going to try to do the same exact thing. Burns making the smart play, pulling it out, and just following his big fullback.
Again, out of the flex bone in motion. This time is Garcia. It'll be Burns calling his own number. He may get a yard and possibly 2 from the 32. They'll say his forward progress just shy of the 35. So it'll be second down, and we'll call it, well, they'll give him the 35, so we'll give him 3. Second down and 7. 2 minutes have gone by here in quarter number 3. Again, this is the opening drive of the second half. We are tied 14-14.
One nice thing, I guess, as a broadcaster, when you have a team that likes to run this triple option, it does make the time go by a little bit quicker because the clock's always running.
And we also got the early call on this one tonight, too. In motion is Dominguez. They come back with Soto. Soto wrapped up, spun around, and a pickup of 3 as he fights his way forward to the 38-yard line. So for the Fighting Bison, they need to get up to the 43-yard line.
One thing Soto's doing that he needs to change is that you don't see him jetting towards the hole or just kind of putting his head down and running into the hole. He's kind of tiptoeing his way in there, and that's allowing the backers to come and get him.
He needs to explode straight ahead. He needs to go to, and they need to get to the 42. Third down and 4, get out of the flex bone. In motion is Dominguez. They give it off to Soto. He will be short, and looks like about a yard short as they will mark the football right at the 41. Fourth down and 1. So here we go.
Saul try to do a fake punt right in this same area the last time. Now it looks like the offense is just going to hang out there, although East looks like they're trying to set up.
Burns is still there. They they are going to go for it. Off 4th down 1, hold everything, a timeout. And East was a little flustered. They didn't know whether they should drop back in punt return coverage, and South never gave an indication that they're going to put Tremble out there to kick it. So 8:32 to go. Nice short drive by the Fighting Bison. We'll keep it here as it's 14-14 to open up the third quarter.
I think to save yourself a timeout, you just go out there expecting South to go for it. If they punt it, okay, whatever. You still get the ball back. Your offense has shown, especially in that second quarter, you can move the ball. It doesn't matter so much where you get the ball, but the last thing you want to do is waste a timeout. We're 3.5 minutes into this third quarter, and you're now down to 2 timeouts, and with how close this game is, that timeout could be needed late in the game.
Well, and one thing here, too, for the South High Fighting Bison, we're going to lose this game tonight. You want to talk about a strong building block. This has got to get them going. Well, Tremble is now in, so it did force the hand of Cheyenne East, and Tremble will boot it away on a 4th one. He will do the rugby-style kick end over end, and it will bounce out of bounds. East will get good field position. Again, not a fan of the rugby-style punt. And for the East High Thunderbirds on the very short kick, again, the ball is on the 41-yard line. They're going to get the ball, let's see, at the 33. So we're talking, 20-plus yard punt?
Yeah, and I think what it is Trimble has the option, kind of like what we saw when he just took off. Like, if he has the lane, he can take off. I agree with you, though. If you're going to punt it, just kick the dang thing so you can get a good boot into it, because the rugby stuff, nobody's really good enough at this level to really have success with it.
Merritt does that as well, too. Anderton, as he will take the handoff from Buell, and he will bust forward to the 37-yard line. Hold everything. We have a whistle.
Anderton's been the guy ever since that second quarter as well.
As they are discussing it right now.
Looks like face mask is Dakota Merritt's letting his sideline know.
So South, who has not been penalized, I don't believe, too much tonight.
Just their 3rd one tonight.
So for Cheyenne East, the ball right now in their 37, so it'll move from the 33. Don't know if this is the major or the incidental. And that's what it is. It's just the incidental, so they'll mark it at the 42-yard line. And for the T-Birds, they are faced with a 2nd down and 1, and these are the dream calls for coaches. You can do so many things, and the Thunderbirds are capable of doing those offensive things. Buell will operate out of the gun, and he will pitch it back to Anderton. Anderton trying to sweep outside, turns it up, and gets to the midfield stripe. I don't know if he got into the Bison territory. Let's see it. We got one official on our side, says right at the midfield stripe.
17-yard gain for Anderton. That's now his 4th carry, double digits.
Actually, 8 yards on the gain there from the 42.
42, yeah.
So they're at midfield, 1st down and 10. Buell swings it out to Merritt. Merritt gets a block to the 40, down to the 30, to the 20, and pushed out of bounds. And that is a saving tackle right there by the South High Fighting Bison, Tyler Wilkin. Wilkin caught up with Merritt at the 12-yard line and pushed him out. 38 yards on that swing pass.
Like what I was saying, as far as saving yourself a timeout, let them punt it and let them go as far back as you want. You're moving the ball at will at this point.
1st down and 10 for the T-Birds. T-Birds going right to left across your radio dial, as well as on your YouTube channel, Periscope via Twitter. Anderton off tackle, inside the 10, down to the 9. Those were 3, maybe 4 hard-fought yards for Christian Anderton. So for the T-Birds, they look at a 2nd down and 6. As the ball right now rests at the 8-yard. Well, check it. They were on the 13, so they brought them down at the 5 yards on the play. Buell calls his own number straight ahead, stands straight up.
So the last thing you want to see if you're Coach Goff is your
quarterback standing straight up as he's going inside all the big bodies there. He brings it down. It looks like near the 5. And it'll be 3rd down and 2. So the T-Birds looking for the first down at the 3. 3rd down and 2. Miller along with Lukow, they will split out on top. To the near side will be, looks like, Schroeder and Merritt. Merritt in motion, left to right. Back to pass is Buell. He steps, he throws, he's got a man. Touchdown, Dakota Merritt. So Dakota Merritt squirts out when he was in motion. Matter of fact, as he went left to right, and then he did a little out pattern as he will pick up the touchdown pass from Graydon Buell. East back on top, 20-14, 6:38 on the Pepsi scoreboard. Merritt looking to tack on all 7 of the points.
Yeah, really efficient drive, and that's really how they wanted to start this second half.
And the kick is good. East 21, South 14. We will be back after this 60-second timeout on 1480 KRAE. Gorgeous Friday night lights here at the Oakey Blanchard Sports Complex. The T-Birds right now entertaining both the South High Fighting Bison fans as well as the Cheyenne East fans on a surgically performed drive, and that nets the touchdown from Graydon Buell to Dakota Merritt from 5 yards out. 21-14. Well, the South High fans across the way looking forward to their offensive unit because, again, they're not playing they're playing from behind, but they're not playing stressed behind. They can still run their particular offense that they need to.
Right. The whole playbook is still there for Coach Gallus.
Merritt, end over ender, will come down to the hands of Dominguez. He'll pitch it back to Nelson. Nelson to the 15, and down he goes.
Yeah, that was not a very well set up reverse. I think everybody in the world can see that one, and for the East cover team, it very easily done. And inside the 20 once again for South, as they're going to have to fight uphill once to try and even this game up.
Ball right now resting at the South High 15-yard line. So in their backyard, as Cade Burns will come on out for the Fighting Bison again in their travel white uniforms. Black numerals, gold outline. They got the gold swoosh on their pants. Black helmets with the Bison emblem. In motion this time. And again, out of the belly, Burns did not take it.
Alex Soto running the ball.
He finally will give it to Soto. I mean, that was like they both went down together as he finally put the ball in the belly of Soto for a very short gain of 2 yards to the 17.
Well, it looked like Burns wanted it, and Soto's like, no, I'm keeping it. And it almost became a tug of war between the two of them.
You know, when you're running that veer, it's one of those where, you know, again, it's the quarterback's last option. And they both went down together. Second down and 8. Burns, back to pass, steps, throws, got him in and out of the hands of Dominguez. Dominguez wide open at the 30-yard line, and he dropped the ball.
If you're South, you got to play you don't have to play a perfect game. You got to play a pretty close to perfect game. And right there, that's a mistake by Dominguez that could come back to haunt South, especially if they go 3 and out here.
And Burns put that right on the hands, too. That was not one where Dominguez had to stretch back or, go down for it. It was right there in the hands, and he dropped it. 3rd down and 8. Again, out of the flex bone. Burns over center. Sends Garcia in motion. Fakes the handoff to Garcia. Back to pass. Steps, throws, looking for Scott. Incomplete. There was some bumping. And we got a flag down around the 21-yard line, so we haven't got an indication yet. It could be in the area of holding.
Well,
that would be offensive holding. But they were bumping around the 30-yard line with Scott, and there was no flag there.
Scott had to turn into a defensive back. It looked like Miller as the safety had a good chance to intercept that one, and I think you're right. I think it's either offensive holding or a legal man downfield.
And they haven't given the indication, but East has declined it nonetheless. Here we go. Ineligible man downfield. So with that, it'll be 4th down, a 3 and out, what Coach Gallis did not need right now, especially on the heels of East with a nice drive the last time they had the football and made it look easy.
Well, this is a young team, and now this is probably the biggest adversity that they've had to really go up against. You see East go down and score willingly. You go 3 and out. You just dropped a very big pass that could have extended the drive. And for South, they're going to need a good punt here by Trimble. They're going to need good coverage, and then their defense to come out and come up with a stop.
Trimble will boot it away, and this one's off the side of his foot again, and East will get great field position. And, and the sad part, too, you look back at that Dominguez drop as he went right out of his wing position. He went right down the seam, and he was wide open. And Burns put it right there. Unfortunately, they couldn't catch it. So with the bad kick, East has got a great field position at the 39-yard line of the Fighting Bison.
That may be generous, too. I don't know if it really got that far, but still, once again, another great spot for Cheyenne East offense to start in.
And Burns will have Miller and looks like Dakota Merritt to the near side. 1st down and 10. Anderton will take the football, goes off tackle, and still drives to the 35-yard line to pick up a 4 on the play. And it'll be 2nd down and 6 for the T-Birds as we come up on the 5:25 mark of the 3rd period.
You have Eifert with just 1 carry. Cooper had 7 carries. He hasn't seen the field since. Anderton has just come in and really taken control of that backfield.
Miller, the lone wideout to the near side, trips out on top. East on the hash mark to the near side. Back to pass goes Buell. Fires in and out of the hands of Miller. And that was a rocket by Buell, and Miller could not squeeze it and catch it. 3rd down.
Not only was Miller just wide open, but that could have gone from being really a big play to almost being a really big play for South, as that went right into his hands and right in front of Kerry Wright.
That would have been, I would think, almost 6. That would have been on that quick slant, and we saw a lot of Montana to Jerry Rice that turned to 6 on that one, and he looked like he got in between the secondary. 3rd down for the T-Birds, and 6. They'll swing it out this time. That's Merritt. Merritt gets outside, spun around close to the 1st down as he is spun out. I would say it's going to be the 30 or 31, so it's going to be 4th down and 2. This is a no-brainer for Chad Goff. They're going to go for it. 4th down and 2, under 5 to play here in the 3rd quarter. East leads 21-14.
Just give this ball to Anderton. Anderton's averaging well over 6 yards a touch right now.
Buell out of the gun. He'll call his own number straight ahead. He'll have the 1st down as he drags the pile to the 28.
South was there. South had their hands on him, but Buell with some lower body strength carrying 2, 3, 4 South High Fighting Bison for the 1st down. And that wasn't a 1st down by much.
So the T-Birds will move the sticks, a fresh set of downs. And for the T-Birds, trips to the near side. Schroeder, along with Lukow and Merritt. And they'll hand it off to Anderton. Anderton busts through and straight down inside the 25 to the 24. So a pickup of about 5 yards on the play for Anderton. And the East T-Birds with a no-huddle offense quickly up to the line of scrimmage.
Saw this up-tempo in the second quarter. And when South not having the numbers, you want to go that up-tempo and try to just gas out their linemen. As you know, we had said, they're not very deep in the trenches right now. And for Anderton, he's really having his way with that line, getting a good push for East.
Second down and about 5. Buell to Anderton. Anderton this time, he dropped his head, but he ran right into, it looked like right up there was Jace Packard, as Packard did not let him out of his sights that time. Down to the 23 just to pick up a 1 on the play. So third down and we'll say 4.
That time the East front line, they got to the second level, but they didn't hold the blocks on that first level. Left Packard right there for a good tackle.
Buell rolls to his left. Rolling, steps, throws, got a man. Driven back to the 19-yard line, but the catch was made at the 16. That is Lukow, who's a little shaken up on the field right in front of the East bench. Should be enough for the first down.
It looks like they're going to say he's down at the 18.
They'll say the 17. That will be a first down, as Lukow will come off under his own power. So first down and 10 at the Fighting Bison's 17-yard line. South was headed over to the sidelines, figuring the injury timeout was going to last, and the official said, come back and play ball.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're still looking for that ride for the brand T-shirt. You got the crown.
Jackson Hesford has checked in and hold everything. Now we got a whistle. South wants to call a defensive timeout with the ball rested on their 17-yard line. First down and 10 for the T-Birds. 3:43 to go. Period number 3. East 21, South 14. We're back after this 30-second timeout of 1480 KRAE. Quarter number 3 out of Campbell County High School in Gillette. Central grabbing an early lead.
7-0 for the Central. It looks like they may have scored their first offensive touchdown. Of course, last week's touchdown came by way of a blocked field goal that was ran back in for 6.
First down and 10 for the T-Birds. Buell again out of the gun. Back to pass, calls his own number to the 10. 5 inside, down to the 2-yard line as he's knocked out, and it will be first down and goal for the T-Birds at the 2-yard line. Nice job by Buell that time as he wanted to throw the football and then saw a wide open lane near the sideline.
It was a rollout to the left, and he only had one read, and that was Ox Schroeder on the slant. It wasn't there. Everybody, it was a man defense, and he was able to beat everybody to the corner. Again, Hughes, though, he doesn't like to wrap up. He likes to go for that big hit and laid some lumber on Graydon Buell at the 2-yard line.
Tanner much more split outside. I formation. Buell under center, hands it off to Anderton. He'll go in untouched. He's tackled about 4 yards deep in the end zone. So Christian Anderton will score the touchdown, and the T-Birds up now by 2 scores, 27-14 on the 2-yard run by Christian Anderton.
His second touchdown of the season. His first one was that big game-tying touchdown against Casper Kelly Walsh 2 weeks ago. And for Anderton, 91 yards on the ground. That's the first touchdown for him tonight.
Merritt out of the hold of Buell. Placement is down. Kick is up, and it is good. East 28, South 14. We're back with the ensuing kickoff after the 60-second timeout on 1480 KRAE. For Cheyenne's quickly to the scoreboard. What do you got?
The big matchup, Thunder Basin up 7-6 over Sheridan. Sheridan missing the extra point. That's in the second quarter. Still 14-0 Rock Springs. That's in the fourth quarter. Rock Springs up against Kelly Walsh, the number 5 team in 4A.
Somebody finally stopped Brock Spiegelberg tonight. The kickoff by Merritt sails into the end zone deep, and it will be first down and 10 for the Fighting Bison at their own 20-yard line.
Big drive here for South. We said that last time. Of course, every drive has been a big drive for South, but this one right here is how you can stay into this game. And as we were saying in the timeout, you were saying now they may have to start passing the ball a little bit. They're getting into that territory where running the ball may not work as much.
It's not their strength. They don't make their living off of that. They make their money off the flex bone. And again, this is the biggest lead of the night for any team. 2 touchdowns. East leads 28-14. They're 2 for 2 here in the second half. Soto will line up as the fullback, again out of the bone. In motion goes Dominguez on the option. They'll pitch it back. It's fumbled, and I hope that Dominguez fell on top of it.
Burns just didn't get a good enough push out there. It was kind of below the waist of Dominguez, and Dominguez wasn't able to hold on to it. Luckily for Dominguez, looks like he was able to recover the football.
So Dominguez will fall on it. And for the Fighting Bison, they didn't lose any yardage on the play. It's right at the 20-yard line. Burns looked like he sustained a big hit, too, as he's holding his side. And again, Cade's not, he may be 6'5", but he is a string bean. He is lean. He's lanky. And again, he won't break. He'll bend, but he took a shot when he pitched it back.
You got to hope he has a slinky for a spine for sure.
Second down and 10. Burns over center. In motion is Dominguez. This time they will run the quarterback option, and it will be Burns calling his own number for a yard. Third down and 9.
Great tackle by the corner on that offside or that far side over there. It looked like Burns had a little bit of room, but he was just kind of one of those things where you see his head, and all of a sudden, boom, you don't see it no more. So a tackle, that time he's able to wrap up finally.
Interesting that they run that option on the hash mark to the far side.
Right.
Third down and 9. 2 minutes to go here in quarter number 3. Burns back to pass, steps, throws, looking long, incomplete. Overshoots his target as he tried to hook up with Storm Nelson.
Well, he had
Fourth
Hunter,
down.
and he had Hunter, who was playing press coverage against Ox Schroeder. He got around Schroeder. It looked like Burns looked for a minute to one side and then threw it to the left, almost like it was pre-planned to try to get the safeties frozen. But Hunter had a step on Schroeder if he would have laid it up for him on this near side.
So Trey Tremble will be in to boot it away, the senior. Looking to get a big foot in the one, has had 2 kicks as of late that didn't go for many yards and gave East pretty good field position. Back deep is Schroeder. This kick will take a nice bounce for the Bison. And East still with fairly decent field position, looks like around the 35-yard line.
At least this time it was about a 45-yard net punt for Trimble, as opposed to the last 2 times. I think about a 15 to 20, and then another one about 30. So at least he did everything he could to try to flip the field. East is going to have to work a little bit harder than their last 2 possessions if they want to put some points on the board.
$1:53 to go here in quarter number 3, with the T-Birds leading now by a couple of scores, 28-14. Kind of a similar picture that we saw last week with South High and Casper Kelly Walsh. Fighting Bison tough as nails in that first half, and then Casper Kelly Walsh got it going in the second half. East 2 for 2 on drives here, especially in the third quarter. Buell out of the gun. Fakes the pitch back, looking long over the middle, in and out of the hands of Merritt. Led him just a little too long as Merritt could not scoop it up and bring it in. So it'll be second down and 10. Cheyenne right now going for the kill.
Yeah, and for Buell, he needs to put just a little bit more air under that. Let the speedy Merritt get a chance to run under it as he tried to. We've seen him a couple of times now just try to throw a frozen rope across the middle.
Second down and 10. Buell with Anderton. He'll give it off to Anderton. Anderton straight ahead, breaks off one tackle. Outside to the 40, 45. Midfield, there's a flag, and it will come back. It looks like it will be against Michael on a hold.
Yeah, he's trying to hold on to that corner on that outside, and that would have sprung Anderton for a long run, even longer run, but he's going to get knocked for the hold, and a big gain for Anderton once again.
Wiped
minus
out
the 10 yards.
And Anderton will be really disappointed on that because he got it into Fighting Bison territory, but the back judge saw the hold. And there you go. So with that being said, East will start it all over again at the 35-yard line. So it wipes out that huge gain by Anderton, and it'll be second down and 10.
Let's see how loud you can get.
So for the T-Birds,
Thunderbird.
you know, again, they went back to their bread and butter, which has been Christian Anderton, and unfortunately, you could see that hold across the way by Michaeli. So here we go, Thunderbirds, second down and 10. Ball on the 35-yard line, hash mark to the far side, trips to the near side. Buell out of the gun, back to pass, plenty of time, steps up, throws, he's got a man. First down inside Fighting Bison territory, down to the 45-yard line. On the grab, I do believe, was the Schroeder. Check that, Tanner Muchmore making the grab. So it's first down at 10. Muchmore on the slant pattern. Back to pass goes Buell. He'll step, he'll throw. He gets shorter this time. 40. Nice little sidestep move to the 36. And a pickup of 9. It will be second down and 1. East again with the no huddle offense, under a minute to play. Down to the 36-yard line of the Fighting Bison, second down and real short.
Trying to have a third quarter here to put the game away and really put South behind the 8 ball.
Buell back to pass. He wants it all over the middle, and again throws it too low. In the lead for Merritt. It'll be third down and very short again, like less than a yard.
Yeah, and again, Buell just trying to throw it too much on the line, not getting enough air under the football and giving his receivers a chance. He could have, gosh, close to 200 yards passing if he's able to just connect with Merritt on that inside post.
Merritt and Schroeder to the near side. Buell, third down with 40 seconds to go in the period. To Anderton. Anderton, first down, straight ahead, and down inside the 27-yard line. They'll say to the 26, so a fresh set of 4 for Cheyenne East, as again they will come up with a no-huddle offense.
Anderton over 100 yards now on 13 carries.
Buell looks over to the sidelines. They get the play. First down and 10. To Anderton. Anderton kicks it outside, 20-yard line, and driven down at the 19. So another nice run by Christian Anderton. 7 yards. It's second down and 3 with about 8 seconds to go. I don't believe they're going to get this play off as we will move on to the fourth quarter. And after 3, East with 2 big scores here in the third quarter and driving once again as we will open up quarter number 4 when we come back. East 28, South 14. We're back after the 60-second timeout on 1480 KRAE. Switching sides for quarter number 4. East now going in a north-south direction, left to right across your radio dial, and of course YouTube and your Periscope via Twitter channels. It's Buell calling his own number. Off tackle, he should be near the first down at the 16 as he slithered his way, and it's more than enough. It'll be 1st and 10, Cheyenne East at the south 16-yard line as we're just underway here in quarter number 4.
Chase Packard may have saved a touchdown too, tripping up Buell. There wasn't a lot in front of him if he gets past Packard.
Buell with Anderton off to his right. Merritt and Schroeder split out on top. Buell back to pass. He steps. He throws. He's got Miller. Miller sidesteps one tackle to the 5. Inside down to the 3-yard line. First down and goal for Cheyenne East. Nice job by Chance Miller. He did that all by himself.
Almost juked about 6 guys over there as well as he was just kind of bobbing and weaving at the 5-yard line, able to fall forward 2 more yards.
First down and goal for the T-Birds. Ball right now on the 3-yard line. Buell operates out of the gun. Calls his own number straight ahead. He's in. Touchdown. Graydon Buell with the touchdown for Cheyenne East. And that one might be the nail into the coffin because, again, it's been all East here in the second half as they have now scored on 3 consecutive possessions.
Well, and really you can say since the second quarter, they scored 14 points in that second quarter. They scored another 14 in the third quarter, and here was 7 very early, just 40 or 39 seconds needed to get that first touchdown of the fourth quarter.
35-14 our score as Merritt tacks on the extra point. We'll be back for the kickoff after the 60-second timeout right here on 1480 KRAE. South 14, update out of Campbell County.
Yep, Central up 15-0 now over the Camels, and then as well in Sheridan, Thunder Basin with a 13-6 lead. That's at half. Natrona up 16-0 over Laramie, and Rock Springs in the fourth quarter still up 14-0, blanking the best running back in the state in Brock Spiegelberg.
Wow, and over there losing at Homer Scott Field are the Sheridan Broncs. That's the news story of the night.
New kids on the block, crashing the party in Thunder Basin, just their second year.
Nelson, along with Dominguez, back deep. Kick is low, and it will be picked up and then bobbled by one of the upbacks. I think that's Soto, who had the stone hands there but fell on top of it. And for the Bison, it will be first down and 10 on their own 24. Down by 3 scores.
These trumpet players down here real quick, they're kind of going back and forth with their trumpets. They mistime one thing. Someone's getting popped in the face down there with the East Band. But with Soto, you know, there's a reason why they hand him off the ball. It's because of the hands.
So we're just underway in quarter number 4. T-Birds already 21 points tacked on here in the second half. Burns getting out of the flex bone. In motion is Dominguez. Back to pass goes Burns. He steps, he throws it up. It's picked off. That is Miller on the far side. Miller, and a late flag comes in at the 21. Down to the 21-yard line of the Fighting Bison. Chance Miller comes away with the the theft, but let's see what the extracurricular activity was all about.
If this holds, Amiller with his 4th INT, that leads 4A, as he's just been a ball hawk in that secondary for Coach Chad Goff.
Officials discussed it, and here comes the indication and the call.
After the interception and during the return, personal foul, blindside block, Cheyenne South. That penalty is half the distance to the goal.
So Cheyenne South with the blindside block. I don't know if that would be a block. It would be more of hitting somebody that did not have the football. Well, nonetheless, East will have the football and some additional yards tacked on as we sort it out. They'll say that the ball now will be resting.
It should be at the 12, as it was 11 or 12 yard line.
Looks like it's going to be the 11. As I look through the glasses here, the spy glasses. Thank goodness for them. Now from the side, they'll bring in the East football, and they will mark it at the 11-yard line. First down and 10. Buell, Anderton in the backfield, out of the gun, trips to the near side. Buell calls his own number, rolls to his right side, steps, throws, and a little low. Is it caught? Nice job cradling that in by Tanner Muchmore. So Muchmore will cradle it on a nice grab at the 3-yard line. It will be 2nd down and 2 at the tray. Buell again operates out of the gun. Anderton to his left. They'll give it to Anderton. Anderton puts his head down in. Touchdown.
In the end zone for the Keepers, Richmond Anderton.
41-14. Cheyenne East made very short work via the penalty to score on 2 plays after the interception by Amiller.
Well, and this is a little bit more of what I'm sure most people were expecting, especially Coach Goff. But this game, even 41-14, it's definitely been played a lot closer than that. It's just unfortunate for South. They may be running out of gas purely just because of numbers.
Buell holds. Merritt puts it through the uprights. It's now 42-14 Cheyenne East. 10:37 to go in this contest. We will be back with the kickoff after the 60-second timeout of 1480 KRAE. We're back. Merritt has it teed up. Well, the gospel according to Chad Goff at halftime. Either he might have thrown the book at those guys in the locker room and said, what the heck is going on? But I'll tell you what, they came out here in the second half 4 for 4 offensively here in the second half as they have extended the lead to 28. It's 42-14.
Well, I'm sure Coach Goff is happy with his second half performance and how his team came out of the break. But one thing he's going to be looking at all next week or during the week of practice is how slow they came out in the first quarter and a half.
Merritt keeps it on the ground. This time will end up in the hands of Dominguez. Dominguez trying to get behind his wedge, still on his feet, across the way near the 30-yard line, looks about the 27, and then a late flag comes in. 2 late flags fly in. So now getting a little chippy across the way.
With the return.
So they'll say the 28. And now we'll figure out what the flag's all about. either a late hit, nobody's moving right now as far as the infraction is concerned, but 2 flags were thrown.
Wonder if this will be offsetting, and that's why it's taking so long.
Soto is standing near the referee. The referee will walk out and sort out the mess.
After the play was over, it's a foul. Cheyenne South.
And you're absolutely right. 2 personal foul calls. So the penalties will offset, and the ball will rest at the, looks like the 29-yard line for the Fighting Bison. A lot of time left here in quarter number 4. Fighting Bison looking for some type of offensive magic here late in the game, trailing by 28.
And I think if you're Coach Gallus too, now that the lead is like this, go back to running your normal offense.
And it will go back to Soto. Soto crosses the 30 to the 32, and he'll pick up 3 on the play.
Because at this point, you haven't passed enough to really put up that many points that quickly. Might as well go back to what you're good at and go ahead and just run your offense and try to continue to build momentum that way going into the next week.
2nd down and 7. Ball resting on the south high 32-yard line. They continue to operate out of the flex bone with Dominguez, Wyatt, Garcia, and Soto. They'll pitch it back to Dominguez. Dominguez caught up in the backfield and turns a negative into maybe a positive. I will give him a yard to the 33.
One thing they haven't done is they haven't done that wing toss to Garcia.
Garcia has been like on a milk carton here in the second half.
Yeah, and I don't know if maybe East has made sure that he hasn't been able to.
There's got to be a spy on him everywhere he goes.
Because they haven't even tried to get the ball in his hands yet here in this half.
So 3rd down and 6. Ball right now on the south 33-yard line. Back to pass goes Burns. Burns fires one up on top and will lead Hunter Scott too much out of bounds. Near midfield, it'll be 4th down, and Trimble will be on again to boot it away.
Good coverage there by Jackson Hesford on the bigger tight end. Hunter Scott. Burns, it's almost like, you know how when you go to the gun range you kind of spray and pray? That's what he's doing right now. He's spraying and praying, just throwing it up, hoping that his taller tight end can make an athletic play, and unfortunately he just hasn't given him a chance to make a play because he's overthrowing him.
All right, for the T-Birds, it will be Ox Schroeder. He'll drift back to his 25-yard line. Trimble. And he's going to throw it. Got him in. That's right. I think he may have enough for the 1st down. If his momentum carried him to the 39-yard line, they got a 1st down. Nice job that time by Trey Trimble as he spots it right.
Trey Trimble with the pass.
1st down for the South High Fighting Bison.
Showing some fight. I love it.
On the stop for the T-Birds.
So a fresh set of downs.
Zach Alexander.
Not so much that they caught the T-Birds napping, but the T-Birds were expecting the punt. Kyrie Wright snuck out, and Trimble drilled a pass right there right between that number 4.
That's where that rugby kick kind of helps you out because you are used to him.
You got 3
running.
options.
Yeah, you're used to him running, so you kind of sit still and you're assuming he's going to punt there. And unfortunately for Easton, their defense, that assumption got him.
1st down and 10, ball on the 39-yard line of the Fighting Bison. In motion goes Garcia. Burns rolls to his right under a heavy rush. Ball is knocked away. Nice job on the defensive side. Michaeli almost came away with it. It was tipped initially by, looked like, I want to say it was Jarrett Taylor who knocked it away.
Yeah, Burns throwing across his body, just a little too much. I've been saying Buell needs to put more air under it. Burns put too much air on that one, as that gave East a chance to get under the ball, or at least get to the receiver for South.
Well, I'll tell you what, Burns had no time to throw that football. Scott will split out. In motion this time is Dominguez and carrying the football will be Soto. Soto drives forward to the 43, 4 yards, 3rd down and 6. We're at the Pepsi scoreboard right now at 8:45 and winding down.
Third down, Bison.
Are you looking up some ball scores?
I am.
What your Dodgers doing?
It's 2-0 in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Giants of the Rockies just getting underway as the Giants have lost 11 in a row, and the Rockies hold the mastery over San Francisco this season, as they have for the last couple 3. Burns calls his own number along the sideline on the far side. He'll be short of the 1st down. It'll be 4th down near the 47-yard line. Maybe they give him the 48.
Looks like it's an upset for Rock Springs. They win 14-7 over Kelly Walsh. That's our first final tonight.
So the Tigers picking up a huge win.
It's now 2 in a row for the Tigers. They go to 2-2 on the season.
And Kelly drops to 2-2. So for the East High Thunderbirds, they look to improve to 3-1. South will, more than anything, will be dropping to 0-4 as they will gear up for next week. Cheyenne Central, who we will be in the Gym City in Laramie, where the Cheyenne Central Indians are looking tonight to get victory number 1 for Coach Mike Apodaca. Last we had was a 15-0 score. There is a timeout called by South, so we'll keep it here with 7:23 to go in the contest.
That's been updated. It's 28-0 as they enter the 3rd quarter, Central with the lead.
So I'm going to venture to say with 28 points that they probably have scored on the offensive side.
At least once.
At least once or twice tonight. So good news for Cheyenne Central fans as they get ready to go to Laramie. And to be real honest, the Plainsmen who have the Trona tonight, and that is no tough chore.
16-0 too. Laramie hanging tight.
Laramie has been, they're not a pushover team. They are trying to nudge their way into that top 5 as well.
And they got a halfway decent quarterback too who can definitely run the ball as well out of the backfield. And then the key matchup over in Sheridan, Thunder Basin still up 13-6. That is heading into the 3rd quarter, as the Bronx, not only did they have their winning streak ended last week, now their home winning streak could be coming to an end here really soon as well.
4th down and 1 after the timeout. Ball on the 48-yard line of the Fighting Bison. Burns will give it off to Soto. Soto, 1st down and more. Soto pushes it into East Territory to the 46-yard line. Fresh set of downs for Cheyenne South. Again, they scored 15 last week in the loss to Casper Kelly Walsh. They've put up 14 early against Cheyenne East, so looking to possibly score the most that they have this season. We know that they're going to go to 0-4. That's realistic. East will be 3-1 after the night. 1st down and 10. Burns calls his own number, pitches it back at the last minute to Dominguez. Dominguez drives forward, 1st down and more. Dominguez brings the football down to the East 36-yard line. 1st and 10. Nice pitch play. It looked like Burns was going to take it and then finally flipped it back on the option at the last second.
Their option ran beautifully, the triple option. Wait until you're about to get hit to let go of it so everyone sucks into you. He's able to get it, and not only was he able to get it off, but he put it right in the chest of Dominguez and in stride.
1st down, ball right now at the East 35-yard line. Hash mark to the far side. Again, operating out of the flex bone. In motion this time is Garcia. They'll give it off to first back through, and that being the fullback, Soto. Soto crashes down to the 33-yard line for a gain of 2 on the play.
Soto's 17th carry on the night.
For the Thunderbirds, number 93, Garrett Oswald.
Unfortunately, it's not the 3 yards in a cloud of dust for Soto. Every yard that he has had tonight has been hard-earned, I guarantee you.
They still have yet to give Garcia the ball here in this second half.
Soto, by the way, is only a junior for Cheyenne South. And Burns trips over the back heel of Soto on the belly and he will lose yardage back to the 35. So it'll be 3rd down and 10 for the Fighting Bison as we have exactly 6 minutes to go on the Pepsi scoreboard, counting down.
Second time this half we've seen Soto and Burns not on the same page. Soto clamping down a little bit too hard and made it really tough for Burns to bring the ball out, and as he did, he tripped over Soto. And it looked like that time they actually had a play designed to give Garcia the ball. Give Garcia 97 yards in that first half.
And then on a milk carton here in the second half. 3rd down and 10. Burns spun around and can't get the ball that time to Dominguez. Looks like we got an injured Bison on the field right now.
The Cheyenne East golf team sitting in first place after the first day of the tournament.
I want to say double nickels for Cheyenne South, but that may not be right. Let me make sure I got the right number there. 50, as he takes a knee. I think that might be Belaski, 56. If we're seeing the right number, are we seeing that? Now we have the East trainer
Ladies and gentlemen,
get into the middle. So
Can't see anything at this point.
yeah, 4th down and 9 with the ball at the 34-yard line of the T-Birds. Stops the clock. If that is Belaski, and as I was talking with Coach, one of the assistant coaches, Jim Schaefer, today, Coach Schaefer said we had 6 healthy linemen heading into tonight's contest.
Yeah, so having one more go down will not be ideal. A couple of finals over in 2A, number 2, Buffalo stomping Burns 39-7. Pines Bluff in the third quarter over Southeast at the moment, 7-0. Defensive struggle thus far.
Hornets again continue with their win streak. They're trying to keep it still intact as they are leading over the Cyclones. What else do we got there?
We got the first round of the 4A state golf tournament over at the Airport Golf Course East with the round 1 lead at 21 over. Kelly Walsh right behind them. Central in at 3rd, and South they're at 11th out of 11 teams thus far. That's in the first round, first year at the Airport Golf Course.
That would be the guys, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yes.
again, Nick over there working hard to bring us updated on the ladies, and that's where we're at with the ladies after day 1.
Kelly Walsh leading the way with the ladies. They're 34 over. As far as the Cheyenne teams go, Central at 68 over. They're in 5th. East at 89 over. They're in 7th. South is in 9th. They're 110 over. And that's, again, after day 1 at the Airport Golf Course, which, you know, I drive by that place every day now. It's looking like the grounds team there did a great job getting that course ready. Not a lot of rain right now.
Course has been in great shape all year. I like how you mentioned where South is 110 over. That's just me on a normal 18 holes.
Right.
So they're actually playing better than I play. Again, the injured player still on the turf here at Oakland Blanchard Sports Complex, and again, things that we don't like to see. 5:31 to go. We are going to take a 60-second timeout. No, we're not going to take a 60-second timeout. They're trying to lift him up right now, and that is Belaski, who is on the ground. They got him into a sitting position right now. And again, we, and I know all fans here on this side, on the east side as well as on the south side, very concerned for the young man, and hopefully it's not as bad. Again, 3 people working on him right now. He is a 5'9", 212-pound junior, Griffin Belaski, and they've lifted him up. Let's see. They are going to guide him off, and that's nice to see, first and foremost, that he's trying to walk under his own power. I'm wondering, you get those stingers,
Right.
and like a hip pointer, and it's almost like it's crippling, and you just don't want to get up. So they are gingerly walking him off, and it does look like knees, ankles, or the back.
Well, especially with the way they run their offense, getting rolled up on for an offensive lineman could be something that happens quite a bit as well. But as you said, he's walking back off gingerly.
You have something there real quick?
Well, just your Oakland Athletics get the extra inning win 2-1 over the Tampa Bay Rays.
So they at least keep pace with the Yankees. Yankees leading them by, 1.5. Setting up for the screen. Screen is dropped by Soto, and East will take over the football on downs.
Cade Burns now 0 for 6 here in the second half after he had started 3 of 5.
So the T-Birds will have the football with 5:26 to go. They lead 42-14, 4 for 4 in the second half on drives.
And they've been able to do it in many different ways, whether it's Buell throwing the ball, taking it himself, or it's been Christian Anderton that's been getting the call ever since they started with Riley Cooper. They tried Eifert for 1, but Anderton, 15 carries, 111 yards with 2 touchdowns.
And Buell is in the backfield along with Anderton to his left. Trips to the near side. East with the football on their 34. Back to pass goes Buell. Buell, plenty of time. Steps, wants it all. Going long. Caught. Incomplete.
So they ran that wheel play against Casper Kelly Walsh that Anderton went 80-plus yards on in that.
I actually thought Anderton had caught that.
I think it bounced right off the turf and came up to him. But he starts in the backfield, goes in that wheel as Buell tries to get everybody's focus to the right side, but good job there by South to really keep an eye on.
And the front 5, you got to congratulate them. Buell had all the time in the world. This time I'll hand it off to Anderton. Guy comes back from the huddle after going on a 50-yard pass play, and then you hand it off to him. He goes to the 39-yard line to pick up a 5 on the play, and it's 3rd down and 5.
We wouldn't be able to do that, but they're young.
I could barely make it up the stairs. 3rd down for the T-Birds. Trips to the near side. Buell back to pass. Swings it out quickly to Merritt. Merritt, 45. Midfield, a flag comes down, and looks like there's going to be an illegal block by Cheyenne East at the. He gets it to the 48 of the Fighting Bison, but another flag is going to wipe out that pass play. Flag resting at the 47-yard line. Personal foul. So chop block on the Cheyenne East Thunderbirds. So that'll march them back and wipe out that 1st down.
Like, again, if you're Coach Goff, when you're playing the better teams, you're playing Thunder Basin, you're playing Sheridan, you're playing Natrona, which Natrona and Sheridan are still to come for Cheyenne East. You can't do this. Those teams will make you pay for it.
Well, and there's been 2 sets of mistakes tonight. We'll get to that here in a bit. 3rd down and 12 for the T-Birds with the ball right now at their 32-yard line, and Buell rolling to his left. Rolling. Pressure, and down he goes. Buell ate the football that time, and he will take the loss back to the 27-yard line. Nice job by, it looked like Brandon Pruitt. So Brandon Pruitt will drop him for the loss back to the 28-yard line. 4:15 to go. And with the ball rested at the 28-yard line, it looks like they will boot it away. That being Dakota Merritt. Dropping back deep for the Fighting Bison. Tyler Wilkin. Wilkin stands around his 32-yard line. Under 4 minutes to play. High snap. Rugby-style kick, and a nice one by Merritt. It gets away from Wilkin. Wilkin tracks it down at the 11, to the 20, 25, and grabbed by the back of his shirt as he's driven out of bounds at around the 27, 28-yard line.
That was just the first punt for East, and there's a good rugby punt there as Merritt got a good leg into that one.
Zach Alexander grabbing the shirt tail of Wilkin to drive him out. The ball right now at the 32-yard line for the Fighting Bison. 3:38 to go. East stopped for the first time tonight in the second half.
At least forcing a punt for South, too. had a turnover on downs, has East, and a turnover interception. So good job by South.
Out of the flex bone. Back to pass goes Burns. Burns wide open is Dominguez. Dominguez, 45, 40. Down to the 35-yard line. Nice pass connection. That time from Cade Burns to Dominguez.
33-yard hook up there, and that's the first completion of the half for Burns.
So Dominic Dominguez brings it down to the 34-yard line of the T-Birds. You know, going back to what you said, the penalties that they had in the first half, which were inexcusable, the before play penalties, and then these crackback penalties have just been killers on Cheyenne East. Burns, spin around move, calls his own number, drives down to the 29-yard line, maybe the 30. We'll see where the spot is. Looks like the 30 of the T-Birds. A pick up of 4 on the play. That'll make it 2nd down and 6.
Well, I'll go back to early in the third quarter. Dominguez had dropped that ball on that same exact route. If he catches that ball, who knows where this game is right now. That really sparked a 28-0 run for East, because that was a quick 3-and-out after East had taken the lead 21-14.
Right now, 2nd down, 6 for the Fighting Bison. Burns back to pass, steps, throws over the middle, got to land! Inside the 10-yard line, down. Now I don't know if Dominguez lost the football or not. Dominguez is down at the 9-yard line. Let's see what we got. They're going to say it will be caught by Dominguez and down inside the 10 at the 9. 1st and goal for Cheyenne South.
So now Dominguez racking up the yards. They haven't given Garcia the touches here in this second half. It's been Dominguez, and Dominguez with 2 big plays, a 35-yard catch and a 21-yard catch now.
Nice pass, again in the seam, a little fire up. In motion this time is Garcia. Garcia trying to get outside. Down he goes. He'll be dropped for no. He's in. Touchdown. His knees never hit the ground. How about that?
Good job by Garcia, having the wherewithal to know there was no whistle.
And he looked back at the official. The official told him basically continue with the play. How about that? 9-yard run for Wyatt Garcia. He was stopped at the 11, and his knees never hit the ground.
So it was the linebacker that had him, and when he turned around, he just sat right on his belly, and like you said, the knees never came down. Garcia didn't give up on the play. He kept running, looked back just to make sure, and because there was no whistle, he kept going. As we'll have a new kicker in.
Soto to place it down. Kick is through the uprights and good. Oh, by the way, the kick was made by Pedro Silva. 42-21 our score with 2:18 to go. We will be back after the 60-second timeout on 1480 KRAE. Get a chance tomorrow, I'm going to definitely look at that touchdown there by Wyatt Garcia. I'll be, hooking up to our YouTube channel on 1480 KRAE and watch that one, because that was interesting. And again, Wyatt Garcia did not give up. And again, he looked back. He knew he was not down. There was no whistle that had blown. And matter of fact, they do a drill I was kind of like, why are they doing this drill? Now I know why they do it.
Right.
It's a spin around move, and Garcia was spun around, but he never touched down. And again, he looked back to the official. The official said, "Go for it,"
Right.
and he did.
No
Touchdown.
whistle. No whistle. Just keep going. Natrona up 30-0 now against Laramie. That's in the third quarter. That's the only score change thus far.
Central continues to lead at Gillette against Campbell County. Hans' team is up for Cheyenne East, as it looks like it will be Silva to boot it away. And he does, and puts a left foot into it, and it will go into the end zone. T-Birds will have the football at the 20-yard line. 42-21. So for Coach Gallus and his South High Fighting Bison, as they'll be back in action, obviously, next week, so will Cheyenne East. But again, each week has to be an improvement. This week is, you said one key play here in the second half after East had scored where Dominguez dropped that pass. That might have been the whole complexion of this second half. They could have had the answer back.
Right, well, because you saw that drive. He caught both passes, and look what happened. They were able to get down the field and get down there in a hurry and end up getting a scoring drive.
First down and 10, T-Birds on their own 20-yard line. Buell again out of the gun, leading 42-21. Handed off to his first back through. Nice little hole down to the 28-yard line. I do believe that was Eifert.
It was just his second touch.
So Jaden Eifert will pick up 9. So second down and 1 for the T-Birds, and you're going to see a lot of ground game right now by the Cheyenne East Thunderbirds.
Looks like South will be at Rock Springs next weekend.
And that's going to be a tough road to hoe for the Fighting Bison. Cheyenne East also in action next weekend, and they will be here. Eifert, first down, off tackle, still on his feet, 40-yard line, still going. Midfield, down to the 45-yard line of the Fighting Bison. Wow, big run there by Jaden Eifert. They'll say the 46 of the Fighting Bison.
25-yard burst for the little back.
So where do we have East at next week? On the schedule. They should be here in the stadium.
Against Natrona, the #1 team in the state, right here at Oakey Blanchard.
Well, they're going to have a lot of work to do when they face the Mustangs, because they can't make these mistakes like they did against South High tonight.
Well, Mustangs can run the ball, and they have one of the best receivers in the state in Jordan Bertinoli.
That front five will be tested again like they were at Thunder Basin. Eifert again skirts his way through down to the 38-yard line. And another 8 yards for Jaden Eifert. Under a minute to go on the Pepsi scoreboard. So the T-Birds will improve to 3-1. Fighting Bison drop to 0-4 at Rock Springs next week. East here against Natrona. Our featured game, I do believe, just Nick and myself, we will be in Laramie as the Plainsmen will entertain the Cheyenne Central Indians, who are going to be coming off a victory tonight, and it's a big-time victory against Campbell County. 2 years in a row now that they've dusted the Camels. Eifert again. He'll have the first down. Moore as he burst over the 35 down to the 33. That might be the last play of tonight's game. 20 seconds to go. Buell talking to the official, making sure that he doesn't have to snap it again. Now he's waiting for the clock to wind. So the Thunderbirds rally back after getting beat up last week against Thunder Basin. And the T-Birds will come over to the sidelines, get ready to go across the way and shake hands with the Fighting Bison. Final score from the Oakey Blanchard Sports Complex. T-Birds 42, Fighting Bison 21. We'll be back with our post-game show after this 2-minute timeout right here on 1480 KRAE. fourth consecutive loss of the season to the South High Fighting Bison. But again, we don't play moral victories. We play games that are W's and L's, and that's how coaches are judged, unfortunately. But the improvement portion of the program for the South High Fighting Bison continues week in, week out. It started off rough. It didn't get any better in week 2, but some signs of improvement in week 3 against Casper Kelly Walsh. Week 4 against the Cheyenne East Thunderbirds, a big step up for South High. And most importantly, you look at, yes, it's a 42-21 win, and yes, Cheyenne East came out and scored 4 times before being answered by South. But the one thing about the Fighting Bison, I like the last touchdown by Wyatt Garcia. Now, again, my next question going out to South High, why was Wyatt Garcia very quiet in the second half?
That one touch, that for the touchdown, that was his only touch in the second half. Again, that was after 97 yards in the first half. Now, maybe East made the adjustment. They saw it, so they tried to go to Dominguez because that side was open. Dominguez did have a much better fourth quarter than he did third quarter. Probably had the biggest drop of the game early in that third quarter when South was trying to answer East taking the lead. But for South, as you know, it's kind of building blocks right now. And really you can look at South as an athletic program, and you can look at it across the board, maybe outside of men's basketball, because men's basketball has been successful at a state level. But right now they're just continually trying to build blocks, bring these young kids up, and give them the experience. And we saw some young kids get some very valuable experience tonight.
Absolutely, and they went toe-to-toe with what we felt is one of the top 4 teams in the Class 4A ranks. So again, and at Cheyenne East. Again, this is here, the Okie Blanchard Sports Complex. This wasn't played at Cheyenne South. So again, the work in progress continues for the South High Fighting Bison. Can they carry that momentum with them over to Rock Springs next week? I think they can. And I think Coach Gallus, along with his staff, will have those kids ready to roll next week at Rock Springs.
And they'll need to be, too, because Rock Springs, they put up a fight against Sheridan. They beat Kelly Walsh tonight. And for Casper, for Rock Springs, they've proven, they can play really well, especially when you have to make the long road trip to them. Now, outside of Casper, Kelly Walsh, and Sheridan, it's not quite as long of a trip to Rock Springs, but still, for South, it's going to be a longer road trip. You're going to go up against a very stingy team in Rock Springs. But once again, for Coach Gallus and his Fighting Bison, a chance to get better. And that's what you care about, is you just want that next chance to get better, especially with South. The way they're playing, they can have some winnable games against Campbell County. They can maybe have a winnable game against
Cheyenne Central. Yes. So, again, the final score here, as we get ready to get more of our post-game show underway, and we will look at some numbers when we come back. Final score, 42-21. East defeats the South High Fighting Bison. We're back after this 2-minute timeout on 1480 KRAE.
Cheyenne East doubles up. South Fighting Bison 42-21. We're now joined by Christian Anderton, 16 carries, 115 yards, 2 touchdowns. Probably a little bit more of a load than you're used to as far as being that second, third guy out of the backfield, huh?
Yeah, definitely. I've been just working hard. I had a back injury at the beginning of the season, so I had to work really hard after that. I was benched for a little bit just because of the back injury, but I've just been working hard during practice and getting more and more reps.
Coach Goff said you're probably one of the more athletic running backs that come out of that backfield. We saw you against Casper Kelly Walsh come up with big plays, but really at a time where the offense was stagnant, you came in that second quarter and you were able to really gash South's defense. What were you seeing as far as your O-line and the gaps they were giving you?
They were just giving me big holes that I could run through, and then I would just find a cutback lane and I would take it and just see where it would go.
Is that big for you? Just find the lane and just go. Don't second guess. Don't tiptoe. Just find it and take off on that one cut.
Yeah, I'm not much of a dancer. I just like to one cut and go.
And then as far as your quarterback, Graydon Buell, another strong night for him. How nice is it having a guy that can be back there? Not only can he run the ball, but he can pass too, because that's going to keep guys on the defensive end pretty honest as well. It's nice having him there, huh?
Yeah, it's just a huge thing because you have counter that we can run, play action, passing deep, C-seam, which worked against Kelly Walsh. Not much tonight, just a little overthrown.
Seeing the penalties tonight, obviously #1 team in the state coming here tomorrow, next week. How important will it be to have a very focused practice and make sure you guys are cleaning up maybe some of the things that you need to, like penalties and minus plays on offense?
It's going to be very important. If we can't get that fixed, we won't do good. And that's just what it comes down to, is getting the little things right, little details. We got to fix that kind of stuff.
All right, thank you very much. That's Christian Anderton. Go ahead and you can pass the headset over to Mr. Muchmore here.
All right.
As Tanner gets the headset on. Tanner, one of the seniors on this team, fairly young team, but for you, how important was it for you as a senior group to get the focus reset and to bounce back from that loss to Thunder Basin?
It was huge. We came out pretty slow. I mean, you could tell that, obviously. But we had a big talk at halftime, and we just picked it up, and it was huge.
Was it more Coach Goff talking, or did your other senior captains really step up? What was it? Because it was a different team. You guys come out, score 28 straight points. More importantly, on defense, you guys were able to bottle in that triple option that hurt you guys in the first half.
Mm-hmm. Coach Goff obviously got us getting going, and then one of our assistants, Coach Bunn, is huge for us. He gets us hype, and then all of our seniors just chipped in, and some of our junior captains that are big leaders on our team chipped in, and then we just got out here and got settled in. I think coming back home game, only our second one, we weren't necessarily ready for the emotions it brings out,
Couple of catches for you tonight. Your quarterback hits 6 different receivers. How nice is it having a quarterback back there that doesn't just look at his first read and then take off with it, but he's able to look at multiple leads, giving guys like you an extra opportunity to make some plays?
It's huge because it keeps the whole secondary guessing on defense. They have no clue, and then you just got to run your routes right, and he'll find you.
So you said it, you guys came out slow in that first half. Some penalties hurt you a little bit, a turnover late in the second half, probably one where you don't see Buell make that throw, but nonetheless, some cleanup that needs to be done because you guys got a really big matchup coming up next weekend in Natrona. Not only is it the #1 team in the state, but it's a team that you guys have butted head with, gosh, for the last 10 years, and they're kind of kings of the hill right now. How important will it be this week of practice to clean up the mistakes?
I think it's obviously huge. They're such a good team year in and year out, but I think we have the talent to match them, and hard work pays off. We got home field, and hopefully our people come out again and give us that boost.
How nice is it being here at home, seeing not only your student section come out after the game, but you see everybody in the stands here cheering you guys on, especially on defense. That's got to give you guys a little bit extra oomph when it comes to, especially in that third and fourth quarter.
Yeah, it's super cool. This is my first year back since my freshman year, so I've never been under these. They're just I mean, I play basketball. I start, so it doesn't even compare to that, honestly. And just having that support is so huge for us.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tanner. Very good game tonight. Congratulations on the win. We'll take a 2-minute break, and when we come back, we'll have some stats. And, of course, head coach Chad Goff on the victory, 42-21. East over South. You're listening and watching on 1480 KRAE. Who talked you into coming back? Just you?
Yeah. I don't know what even happened, honestly.
Yeah. Your senior year, you might as well just give it a go.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I wanted to test it out.
Good deal, man. Good luck the rest of the season. Good job tonight.
Take it easy.
Thank you.
Got a 2-minute.
Yeah, well, and he's over there talking to him now. He knows to come over here when he's done, so we can go and look at the stats. Yes, let's thank all our fine sponsors for tonight's ball game before we get into stats. And, of course, Chad Goff joining us here on our post-game show. We want to thank Terrell Honda, Baskin-Robbins, Cheyenne State Bank, Merritt Plumbing and Heating, Chick-fil-A, corner Windmill in Delrange, by the way, Shine Auto Repair and Service, the Gill Window Company, Best Western Plus, Frontier Inn, Little Philly, Jolly Rogers RV Sales and Service, Platte Valley Bank, Taco John's, Mars Plumbing and Heating, First Tier Bank, and Big Apple Bagels. Chris, you got a bunch of stats in your hands. And again, Coach Goff will be joining us here in a couple of moments.
285 yards of total offense for South High. Their quarterback, Cade Burns, doubles up his total attempts, came in with just 12. And tonight ended up with going 5 of 13 for 119 yards. He also added 2 touchdowns on the ground. He had 12 carries for 42 yards. Soto, 17 carries, 49 yards. Dominguez, 5 carries, 7 yards. Garcia had 7 carries for 66 yards, and that nice touchdown at the towards the end of that fourth quarter. One more touch for Trimble. He had a carry for 2 yards. As far as catches go, Garcia had one catch for 39 yards. Dominguez, 4 catches for 80 yards, and then Kerry Wright on that fourth down conversion, catch for 6 yards. For East, they had 416 yards of total offense. 13 of 19 was Graydon Buell with 3 touchdowns and an interception for 149 yards. Anderton led the way for them on the ground, 16 carries, 115 yards, chipped in with 2 touchdowns. Buell had 10 carries for 49 yards and a touchdown. And we saw Eifert at the tail end there, 5 carries, 47 yards. And then Riley Cooper, he had 7 carries for 19 yards. Catches, Allmiller with 3 for 57. Schroeder with 2 for 25 and a touchdown. Merritt had 3 catches for 16 yards. He had a 3-yard touchdown. Much more, 27 yards on 2 catches. Archimura with 2 catches for 17 yards. And then Lookout with 2 catches and 10 yards is now will be joined with head coach Chad Goff on the victory.
So we'll hand the headsets over to Coach Goff, and Coach Goff and I were talking prior to the young men coming up here, and both we addressed that in the first half. You had a tale of 2 different strange things that went on with you. You had the pre-snap penalties in the first half, and then you had the downfield penalties in the second half. But other than that, you have to be very proud of your kids, how they came out in the second half and just took the ball game to South.
Yeah, definitely. That's what we talked about at halftime, you know. You can't come out so tight and not perform, you know. And what we talked about after the game right there is we've done a lot of different things, but the one thing we haven't been consistent on is coming out strong. You know, I thought against Kelly Walsh we came out pretty strong, but against Campbell County we didn't. Against Thunder Basin we didn't. And then tonight against South we didn't come out very strong. And we've got to get that part figured out.
Well, and that team you played across the way tonight, and again, you're 6-1 against these guys. They didn't play like a team that was 0-3.
Right.
They gave you everything they can dish out. Matter of fact, we were just talking amongst ourselves. If Dominguez doesn't drop that pass after you guys scored that touchdown, things could have been a little bit different here in the second half.
No doubt, no doubt. You got to credit that team. Like you said, they showed up to play. I thought they came out and hit us in the mouth right away. You know, they came up and on a tight end one time and popped us pretty good. And then on a kickoff return, they came up and popped us pretty good in the first half. And they came out and they set the tone. And they sure rallied behind that tone. And I thought our kids responded well. You know, halftime wasn't much said. You know, we told them we're not going to sit here and yell at you because we've done enough of that in the first half. You know, you got to figure this out. You got to come to play. And I thought they did a good job of stepping up in that second half.
You had a really great performance. And, again, you know, Cooper got his touches. Eifert saw a little bit of action. But when you put Anderton back there, it was a whole different look for your offense.
Yeah, Anderton is kind of a do-all type guy. You know, he started the season off at receiver. We know he has experience running the ball as he did in the younger levels last year, and he's got a lot of different talents. You know, he's caught balls for us. He's kind of like the guy that does everything. He can get outside on us, he can run inside, and he can catch the ball. So he's got a lot of good talents for us. He did a great job sparking us.
And Buell, you know, and just a matter of just touching up on some passes, but your front five basically gave him all night to throw.
Yeah, definitely. And we worked a lot after last week. You know, I threw my guys under the bus last week on the radio, and then when you watch film, it wasn't so much them. It's get rid of the ball. You know, we can't protect forever. And so we really worked on just getting rid of that ball. But again, sack's a sack, and that still goes to those five guys up front. And so they did a good job this week of working.
Final thought, it don't matter whether you play them at home or play them at their place. And again, it's nice to be here in the Okie Blanchard Sports Complex. But, you know, the Mustangs and, you know, you and Steve Harshman, you're the two deans of the Class 4A, so to speak. You know each other. But every time you guys have matched up, barring a couple of playoff games, it's smash-mouth football between you two guys, and whoever makes the least amount of mistakes usually comes away with a victory.
Yeah, you know, Natrona is such a good program. You know, they're so well coached. Their kids show up and play. Like I was telling them earlier, you know, when you watch film on Natrona, which I did a lot today, they're ahead of where they usually are, I think, this early in the season. You know, they usually just get stronger and stronger and stronger, as we learned last year playing them. But I think right now they're pretty polished and they look pretty good. And so we told our kids, you know, this is the games. This is a rival game for this. This is the teams that we want to be able to compete with in order to see those later weeks in the season. And we told them, you got to show up and play this game, and it'll help us get better for weeks 10, 11, 12.
All right. Chad Goff joining us on our post-game show. We're going to let you go. Thank you so much for joining us. And, again, we wish you all the best next week against the Mustangs, as they will be here in town. We, Nick Proetti and myself, will be over in Laramie. And, again, we're going to have the Cheyenne Central Indians hopefully going for 2 in a row against which is their natural rival back in the day, the Laramie Plainsmen. So, again, we're looking forward to bringing you that broadcast. We also want to thank some more folks down the line here. Pepsi of Cheyenne, Medicap Pharmacy, Key of Cheyenne, Lennox Auto Body, the Bread Basket Bakery, First Education Federal Credit Union, Fat Boys Tire and Auto, B&B Appliance and TV Cap Lumber Company, Halliday Motors, and MHP, McGee Hernan Pies. Real quick, we will go to the scoreboard. Let's check in on Class 4A. Again, we know that Burns has already lost. Pine Bluffs was winning as we last were hearing from you in Class 1A. So let's go down 4A, and then we'll get everybody caught up here, and then we'll go check the Major League scoreboard, and adios.
Number 1, Natrona up 37-7 now in the fourth quarter over Laramie. Thunder Basin still beating Sheridan, as that's a number 2, number 3 matchup, 20-13. That's in the fourth quarter. Central still with that 28-0 lead. That's in the third quarter. As far as Pine Bluffs go, they're now up 21-0 in the fourth quarter. So,
and again, Burns has lost already to Buffalo in Buffalo this evening. All right, quickly to the Major League Baseball scoreboard, as we got a couple of things that are going on, especially concerning the Rockies. They've got the Giants. They got the woeful Giants right now at AT&T. How are the Rocks doing?
The Rocks right now are down 2-0. Slater hit a 2-run single in the bottom of the second, so they're up 2-0. Are the Giants in the? They just finished the top of the third, so that's heading to the bottom of the third.
Dodgers earlier this evening had the Redbirds.
That's in the top of the ninth. The Dodgers are up 3-0, and the Astros and Diamondbacks are still tied up at 2 apiece. That's in the top of the 8th inning.
All right, so that's pretty much of the scoreboard that we want to get you caught up on, that NL West. So, thank yous along the line. First off, back at the house, we want to thank Jacob, who did a great job once again for us tonight. Nick Proetti, who again was exceptional, and we see a new version here on Periscope via Twitter and YouTube.
We look better in high definition.
No, after 6 surgeries, you can never make me look good. Only one doc in this town can make me look good, and that'll be on surgery number 7. But anyway, we want to thank Jacob. We want to thank Nick. Most importantly, thank my partner to the left of me, Chris Polton, for a great job. And again, thank you to all here at Cheyenne's for making our stay that much more easier to bring you a fantastic broadcast. Once again, we take a look at the final score as the East High Thunderbirds have won tonight. They improved to 3-1. They win 42-21 over now 0-4 Cheyenne South. So for all of us here at the Oakey Blanchard Sports Complex, I'm Larry Proetti saying good night. We now return to regular programming on 1480 KRAE.